Welcome back, everybody. Yeah, it is I, it's Brother Ron, as we all be news free Dixie for the 21st century. I know I supposed to been back. Supposed to actually head on Dr. Christian Gregory to close it out. I thought we are gonna have a Taurus on Taurus session. He's a bull like me, and that's no bull sugar honey iced tea in. See how it works. So thank y'all for rocking out with us. But we'll try to help Dr. Christian Gregory on Friday. It'll be a good Friday because right now he's working on a couple of things. He's helping the Mooney family, as you all know. He lost Baba, Mr. Godfather comedy. Paul Mooney became a righteous ancestor on Brother Malcolm's life affirmation day, no less, right? We lost him, and Dick Gregory, Baba Dick Gregory was real close to Paul Mooney, and both families were real close to each other. I even interviewed Paul Mooney one time, and he claimed that they was actually blood relatives. They were like cousins. So it may be possible because, like I told y'all yesterday, I interviewed the nephew of Malcolm X, and he told me that Elijah Muhammad and Malcolm were cousins. And y'all know that Malcolm's father was from Georgia, and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is also from Georgia. So, and I also heard that Elijah Muhammad was cousin with Sun Ra. Some people claim that some of the practices of the Muslims of the Nation of Islam back in the 40s kind of were similar to some of the things Sun Ra was into. Sun Ra said he was from Saturn, though. I say he was from Birmingham, Saturn. So I love Sun Ra. His birthday is actually coming up. He's a Gemini. That's not too hard to figure out. And also, I just wanted to, end the Taurus season on a high note. Because I am a Taurus, and Dr. Christian Gregory, we couldn't have him on because he was helping the Mooney family with planning of the homegoing. And also, we want to talk about, when we do have that brother on, we're going to talk about this Dick Gregory documentary coming out on Showtime. And I don't know if y'all heard about this Dick Gregory documentary that's going to be premiering on Showtime. I think y'all can hear me loud and clear. Let me just check the ones and the twos and the twos and the ones. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. What the heck is bothering me? 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. What the heck is bothering me? 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. What the heck is bothering me? On We All Be TV. Yay, yay. I think everything working. Check these values. Thank y'all for catching up. Antoine, Brother Graham, Sister Sunshine. Well, he did snap on me actually many times. I'm just checking. Sister Sunshine. Yeah, he snapped on me, Sister Sunshine. He used to curse me out, and he actually pissed me off. Be honest with you, Dick Gregory didn't do that to the white boys. You know what I'm saying? He didn't go off on the white boys. A lot of white boys weren't really the best interviewers. They didn't know a lot. When Dick asked him about something sometime, that when he was riffing, Dick getting in his zone, he would riff. Dick was like a jazz musician in a lot of ways, brilliant at improvising, storytelling. He was friends with musicians. I know Dick talked about he couldn't dance, but Dick was real close to Michael Jackson. He helped Michael Jackson when Michael Jackson was dehydrated because he was afraid to eat anything in that last trial he went through. He helped, get Michael hydrated. He was real close to Michael Jackson. Very close also to Marvin Gaye, who was my blood cousin. Marvin Gaye is a blood cousin of mine, which is interesting. And he was an Aries. He was born April the 2nd, 1939, and he died on April 1st, 1984, which was April Fool's Day. So a lot of people, when they heard Marvin Gaye was dead on the radio, they thought it was a horrific joke, but it was true. But Marvin Gaye is a blood cousin of mine. But Dick was very close to Marvin Gaye. He did his eulogy. Dick was trying to help Marvin Gaye kick his drug habit and stuff. And Dr. Christian Gregory talks about how Marvin Gaye would visit the family home and he spent some time with Marvin Gaye. Christian Gregory was blessed to be able to grow up in the environment of that type of richness because of who his father was. And maybe he did not understand it at that time, but as time marches on, he values it, because Dick was not, he wasn't a stay-at-home dad, but he left his family a powerful legacy and name they could build on. Yeah, but Bobby used to snap on me a lot. It pissed me off. Ain't gonna lie, but you grow. It's like Kwame Brown getting cursed out by Michael Jordan. A lot of y'all couldn't handle it though. Like, y'all talking about Kwame. Kwame held his peace for 20 years. Michael Jordan like Dick Gregory, man. Those guys old school, man. I had cats that I'm gonna save it for this. I'm gonna save it for my book. I got a couple of Dick Gregory stories I'm not gonna tell right now. But it's nothing really bad, it's nothing scandalous or nothing like that. Dick Gregory was a great man. Yeah, it was Sunshine. I gotta correct you on that. You probably ain't seen all my interviews, and but it was all in love. Dick was like a drill sergeant. See, Dick, them guys. See, I know a lot of cats from that era who did the work, movement work. They people that put their lives on the line for the people. And that's a very stressful job. You look at Baba Dick Gregory. Malcolm's birthday was yesterday. Malcolm didn't make it to 40. Malcolm is the same age that Kwame Brown is now, going off on people. And y'all talking about, oh, Kwame Brown shouldn't do that. Malcolm was doing that. Can you imagine Malcolm on an Instagram live right now? If he was doing Facebook live or YouTube live streaming, Malcolm was going off on people. Have y'all not seen the clips of Malcolm going off on Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam? Talking bad about the minister, about the messenger. Y'all haven't seen those clips? It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Malcolm was vicious with his attacks on the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. See, y'all want to sugarcoat stuff. No, Malcolm did his dirt. Malcolm was from the streets. Malcolm knew what time it was. Malcolm had a mouthpiece. Malcolm was a Taurus. We known for our communicative skills. Whether for better or for worse, Malcolm was going in on Elijah. It's kind of like Tupac hit him up without the curse words. You know what I'm saying? Elijah Muhammad, I guess Navy beans was his Viagra. Because he was popping them kids out. And also Elijah at that point was sickly. So people thought Elijah was on his deathbed, but he still had several more years left in the tank. But what I'm saying is funny, like Kwame Brown. And I like Kwame Brown. Something about him. I think it's that Carolina in him. When I look at Kwame Brown, I see my great-grandfather. I never met my great-grandfather. He was from Greenville, South Carolina. Kwame Brown favors my great-grandfather, Thomas T.J. French. He was tall like Kwame. He was tall, dark, and handsome like Kwame. Brother Kwame. No, it's not. Kwame is a nice-looking guy, charismatic guy, has a way with the mouthpiece, okay? My grandfather was tall, dark, and handsome. He's well over 6 feet tall. Very proud man from South Carolina. He was born into slavery. He was born in 1862. That's my great-grandfather. I'm trying to understand how slavery wasn't that far away. That's my great-grandfather. He was born in 1862. That's my paternal grandmother's father. He was born in 1862 into slavery. He had to leave South Carolina because he was a gangster with his. You know what I'm saying? He was good with a razor and a gun. He was known for carrying a gun on his person at all times. And he was a master barber. So, this white dude, this white neighbor had this bull near their shared property line. And his mom had her clothes hanging. You know how old school, people from the South know what I'm talking about. That you hang clothes outside to dry. Kind of like in that scene in Them, you hang your clothes outside. You didn't have a dryer. The sun was the dryer. So his mom would hang the clothes by the property line, and the bull would charge at her. And so my great-grandfather asked politely, from my understanding, I wasn't there. He asked the white man, could you please move your bull away from my shared property line? Because it put my mama's life in danger. And basically, the white man wasn't so nice with his reply. He called him some things he shouldn't have called my grandfather. My grandfather didn't kill the white man. He shot him to death, from my understanding. This is in Greenville, South Carolina. And he had to leave. Now, my grandfather's interest, because his brother was a successful minister. His brother actually went to Morehouse to be educated as a minister. So I got a unique family tree. And his brother's daughter, his niece, she talked about my great-grandfather in the family reunion book that came out in the early 1980s when they had their family reunion, the Peretts in South Carolina. The Mayfields, the Peretts, because I'm related to Curtis Mayfield and Julian Mayfield. So all them roots are in South Carolina. And she talked about how my great-grandfather stepped in before her father, who was a minister, could whoop her. He helped, he stopped his brother from whipping on his daughter. He helped her father to spare the rod for that moment. She was forever grateful for my great-grandfather doing it, but he had to leave. He had to change his name. His last name from Perret to French. Met my great-grandmother, who was also Native American, in Joplin, Missouri. They settled in Kansas City, Kansas. He owned land, was a successful business owner in Kansas City, Kansas. He owned a pool room and a barbershop. And a lot of his kids end up becoming entrepreneurs like him, like my great uncles and stuff. They own their own businesses like restaurants and hotels and motels. And, you own motels, maybe they were pimping. I don't know. Pimping is pimping. But anyway, they were business owners like my great grandfather. So when I look at a picture of my great grandfather, I see Kwame Brown. So we are ancestors. I don't know. We might be related, but his swagger and the way he carried himself with dignity like a man reminds me of my great grandfather. So, and that said, people say, well, he's kind of sensitive. I said, he's a man, he's a human being, but I like what he's saying. You may not like the vocabulary and the vernacular that he uses, but I feel like it's very authentic. It comes from a very authentic place. He's a Pisces. I think he was born March the 10th, 1982. So Pisces get into their feelings, but people act like it's something wrong for a black man to have any type of emotion. You could make the case that Malcolm was emotional, how he confronted and attacked, Elijah Muhammad through the media. Maybe he was passive aggressive of his, because people say Elijah Muhammad was dating underage girls. They never proved that. Maybe late teen, early 20s, and he was an older man. When young girls or young women like older guys, just like some young guys like older women. It's just something about biology, all right? So I'm not going to get into the picking and pecking of that. But people like sensationalism. We love a good car wreck as a people. Now, my thing is what he's saying has a larger point than it being a personal beef between him and the guy, Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes. I actually don't have no problem with them brothers. I think them brothers are very intelligent. Kwame Brown's very intelligent. I'm very impressed with Gilbert Arenas. He's very smart. Want to know why? Because he made sure he separated himself from this car crash. He said, look, man, I don't want to smoke with Kwame. Gilbert Arenas, to me, when I saw the All the Smoke, they call themselves the All the Smoke podcast, Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson, they call Stack. Gilbert Arenas, he was like the Einstein of basketball, because that man explains basketball like Einstein probably explained physics, and there's physics in basketball. But I was impressed. I remember the stories of him bringing guns to the arena, Gilbert Arenas to the locker room, doing all types of crazy, weird thuggish stuff. Shorty want to be a thug. Like he's like that dude that Tupac talk about. Shorty want to be a thug. Shorty want to be. Shorty want to be a thug. So he's like that fade, but you could tell he's very intelligent. And I give Gilbert Arenas props, for his basketball knowledge is insane. He's like a mad scientist when it comes to the basketball thing. And I got to give him his props. But what Matt Barnes, I remember my mom met Matt Barnes. I believe it was at Walmart. She met Matt Barnes. Well, Matt Barnes, he's a journeyman. Matt Barnes was not a superstar, but he had talent. He was like an enforcer, kind of like a Charles Oakley, a light-skinned version of Charles Oakley, a skinnier version of Charles Oakley, like one of them enforcer guys. He played defense, journeyman, off the bench. He produced. I would say he had a successful NBA career, was no bust, because everybody can't be superstars. There are more role players and bench players than there are superstars. And just because you label a person a superstar don't mean they want it. Ask Paul George, and that's another story. But my mom met Matt Barnes, I believe it was Walmart, and she could correct me when I talked to her. And she didn't really know. I mean, she just knew he was a tall dude, a handsome guy. But Matt Barnes is more than just a pretty face. He's more than Becky with a good hair or a finger wave. He actually is very knowledgeable about Black history. For my mom, we do Black history stuff 24/7. We do that every day, 365. My mom was impressed with his breadth of knowledge on the history of Black people. It's like, I remember, you think about Grant Hill. Grant Hill has an exquisite Black art collection. He values Black art like Bill Cosby values Black art, and also Black history. Same thing with somebody you may be surprised. Chris Webber is highly intelligent, and congrats to him for finally getting to the Hall of Fame. Well deserved, I believe. Chris Webber was a very good basketball player. He was above average basketball player in college and in the pros, and it is what it is. But Chris Webber is highly intelligent. He has an exquisite Black history collection himself. He's very well versed. So people don't understand Chris Webber's dad is from Mississippi. He's from Tunica County. That's Tunica is where they got all the casinos. My people's from Tunica. I may be related to Chris Webber. The Moon. I come from the Moon. They spell their name Moon. I don't know too many Black folks name like that. You know, Moon. And I'm related to the Moon brothers. You know, these were brothers who fought in the Civil War. They signed up in Mississippi for the U.S. colored troops and fought in the Civil War. These are my ancestors, Frank Moon. But Chris Webber's father is from Tunica County, Mississippi. He left Mississippi, I remember reading some years ago, because one of his best friends was lynched. So his father left the South and went to Michigan because one of the main motivating reasons was because one of his best friends was lynched. It's like with the Williams sisters. Their father is from Louisiana, the man who first trained them into tennis superstardom. I believe he left, or he had a childhood memory of one of his best friends getting killed for stealing a chicken. They lynched one of his best friends for stealing a chicken. So this is, thank God for Black men, the fear of Black men. So his father's from Tunica County, Mississippi. So yeah, Chris Webber is well versed in knowing about his people, our people. So people got this thing about jocks or athletes being dumb. Never forget, one of the most brilliant minds on the planet was a phenomenal athlete named Paul Robeson. He's like the greatest tree in our forest when it comes to that type of Black excellence. The man was one of the first all Black American football players, one of the first professional Black football players, lawyer, graduated top of his class. Man, brilliant. Paul Robeson can speak over 20 different languages fluently, one of the greatest singing voices of all time, and the mentor to people like Carrie Belafonte and a Malcolm X. So we don't even talk about Paul Robeson today, but this guy is the best of the best. So that's why they fear Black men, because we set the standard for everybody else. Even though a lot of us don't want to be men, we rather be males and complacent because we're afraid. Because once you step as a man, you got to take on some responsibilities. You're going to be accountable, and you got to make sacrifices in order to be classified as a man in this society, especially a Black man. You got to stand for something. So with that said, I think y'all can hear me. Yeah, I like Charles Oakley. I just didn't know until years later how close he was to Michael Jordan. I actually met Charles Oakley when Mike Tyson and Lennox Lewis had their fight in Memphis back in 2002, almost 20 years ago. You know, Memphis turned into Las Vegas for the weekend or for the week. It was amazing. Like, it was like you had Las Vegas and Hollywood and New York, everything collided. I saw Russell Simmons and Run DMC in a horse and buggy going down BB King. I think that was BB King going down. They was by the Peabody. Then we was in the Peabody Hotel. I saw Tommy Hitman Hearns, Jermaine O'Neal, and these guys were big. They're like gods. They're like walking statues. I mean, these guys like colossus, big people. And Charles Oakley was there. He was like an oak tree. And man, it was like he was solid. He was like a big oak tree. You couldn't miss him. But he was cool. I mean, I saw Evander Holyfield, Alonzo Mourning. It was amazing. It was like an all-star weekend. So it was almost 20 years ago. But I always liked Charles Oakley on them Knicks teams from back in the 90s with him and Patrick Ewing, and Xavier McDaniel, the X-Man, and John Starks. I love them Knicks teams from back in the day, man. It was amazing. They should have won one championship. They came close twice, but it is what it is. But I love those teams. And said Robeson with Igbo, maybe. I heard that Benjamin Banneker was Dogon, so it's possible. And it would make sense. Consider what we know. Yeah, he was definitely bad. But Colin Kaepernick is not on the level of a Paul Robeson. No. There is nobody on that level as Paul Robeson. You know, in sports and entertainment, nobody can touch Paul Robeson for the example he said and the sacrifices that were made on his behalf. Paul Robeson declares Colin Kaepernick. I mean, to me, Kwame Brown is close to what people think Colin Kaepernick is. Kwame Brown is closer because he's exposing the Wizard of Oz, so to speak. He's pulling the curtain on the Wizard of Oz. He's showing you the inside the NBA, inside the plantation. And it's bigger than black on black crime. Y'all, you know, a lot of people say, well, you know, he talking bad about, but he's telling the truth about how the sports entertainment industry complex make money off of exploiting and character assassinating black men or black males. They do, and they use other black folks to do it. Like I talk about the battle royale concept with Jack Johnson, how he came up. You know what I'm saying? Like he had to fight other black men blindfolded down in Galveston and other places, and whoever was the last person standing, they got the little chunk change off the floor that was covered in black men's blood, provided by the white patronage. You understand? And the thing about Jack Johnson, as much as I love Jack Johnson, one flaw I saw is that the fact he didn't give other brothers a chance at the heavyweight championship. Jack Johnson, once he got the heavyweight championship, he refused to fight other black fighters of his era that was just as deserving, if not better than him. Y'all can look all that up. Take a look. It's all online. A lot of great black contenders could not get a shot at the belt because Jack Johnson refused to fight him because he wanted to be the one and only. We still got that same mindset. We think individual success equates to group success. And what I love about Paul Robeson, he knew that no matter how successful he was individually, how much money he made, what his status was in society, until his people were free, he wasn't free. Until his people were free, he weren't free. So I don't see no athlete on the level of Paul Robeson. Colin Kaepernick had a golden parachute. He always had money in the bank. He always had something waiting for him. And then now there's pushback on him because he's using a dark-skinned sister on one of his books or whatever. People, black folks are so emotional. And to be honest, there may be a point to that because when we think about activists, black activists, a lot of them are fair skin or light skin. They're not necessarily dark skin or black skin. Because by you existing as a dark skinned person is a protest in and of itself in this system. Being dark, being born dark, you already protesting because you dare to exist. You dare to dream, you dare to do. But you look at somebody like Malcolm X, he wasn't dark. Malcolm was high yellow, had red hair. I think he had green eyes. His mama was, fair skinned. His father was black as the cosmos. And his mama made it a point to marry a dark-skinned black man because she wanted some color in her children because of the trauma. She knew about the trauma to her family trees of the rapes by white men forcing themselves on black women. And so you think about Ida B. Wells, he wasn't dark-skinned. Mary Church Terrell. Her daddy, Robert Church Sr., who was, they claimed, the first black millionaire of the South, his father was a white man. His mom was like a concubine to his father. And then, Robert Church made the family fortune. See, people don't want to talk about the truth. Robert Church made his fortune off of real estate, but he had brothels on his real estate in Memphis. He was making money off of white prostitutes. It's hard out here for a pimp. Like a pimp. It's Memphis, baby. Memphis produced our fair share of lawyers and pimps and preachers, and sometimes all three at one time. We have produced our fair share of lawyers, pimps, and preachers. I know Stagger Lee. I know the legend of Stagger Lee. He's buried somewhere outside of St. Louis. He's from Memphis. The biggest pimp, black pimp in New Orleans during the time of Louis Armstrong's childhood was a cat named Clerk Wade. And guess where he was from? He was from Memphis. Louis Armstrong talks about the Clerk Wade from Memphis. And when he died, he was killed by his bottom bitch. His bottom bitch killed him at a club, at a saloon, whatever. And they had one of the biggest funerals in New Orleans at the era. In that era, they had one of the biggest funerals for anybody black and white. Clerk Wade, look him up if you could find him. But Louis Armstrong talked about Clerk Wade in his letters and stuff. And y'all should read the letters and the autobiography of Louis Armstrong. He's not what you think he is. It's like with these basketball players, like with Kwame Brown. I didn't know he had that type of intelligence. I remember Kwame Brown. I didn't even know that he was the first high school #1 draft pick out of high school. I thought it was Moses Malone. I thought Moses Malone was the first, but he wasn't. And Moses Malone was not a bust. Moses Malone was a beast. He came through the ABA, then he went to the NBA, ran with Philadelphia, 12-time, I think 12 or 13-time All-Star, 3-time league MVP. Moses Malone was the truth. And how many people really talk about Moses Malone? Damn, there's so many great ones, but they show you how the sports industry complex try to really tunnel vision the narrative. They have you thinking that people like Dr. J didn't exist and that Wilt Chamberlain was a figment of somebody's imagination. They don't give the great ones the prop, but I believe for me right now, Kwame Brown is my favorite basketball player, not because he was so great at basketball, but he's so great at playing the game of life. In my opinion, I mean, he made it. I mean, you call him a bust because he's played 12 years. He didn't go out the league. He didn't go to Canada or Europe or China and then come back. He played 12 years in the NBA as a role player, whatever. Everybody, there's more role players and bench players than they are superstars or stars. You got more, the world consists of mostly role players, not, leading actors or actresses and stuff. Everybody has a role to play. What The Rock used to say in wrestling, know your role. Know your role. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but y'all, come on, it's time to bleed. y'all worry about, because black folks, we don't got, nobody takes us seriously, right? You know what I'm saying? Nobody takes us serious. We don't take ourselves. This is BS. I mean, we all different shades, right? It's different shades and hues of so-called blackness. And my thing is this: we complain about sacrificing, but we love to celebrate victimhood. I want to be a winner. I'm tired of us celebrating. I mean, yeah, people die, but people look at us. Y'all always celebrating people that have been victimized. What about y'all fighters and killers? Y'all don't know. America on 4th of July, they don't celebrate victimhood. They celebrate their killers. It's killing that won the war. It wasn't, oh, our lives matter. Okay, we're gonna bayonet your eyes out and cut your throat. Okay, if your life matter, then protect your life by any means necessary. That's what Malcolm was saying. Y'all want to be, oh, look what you did. You stick a broomstick up my ass and you did this to me, and look at me, you owe me. Now you owe them to never, never again. Never, never again. Never, 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 ever. Never, ever. Fred Hampton was dark skinned. He wasn't light skinned. Fred Hampton was dark. He was brown skinned. He wasn't dark. He wasn't dark like Daniel Kaluuya dark, but he was brown skinned. What's his name? Brother name. Our apprentice Bunchy Carter was dark, brown skin, dark brown. See, it's dark, light, and brown. We all sacrifice, man. But y'all get into this stuff, it shows that we are afraid to confront the actual realities of our situation. When we start going into these little side conversations, these side protests, like, is this coloring book, whatever the hell it is? I don't know if it's a coloring book, activity book, or whatever, actual book. I don't care. Colin Kaepernick ain't the one. He never was one. I don't like my heroes to be that quiet like that. Colin Kaepernick didn't never say a mumbling word. You know what I'm saying? He disappeared in the big moments, just like he did in football. Y'all fighting for him to play. You can't afford your light bill, you can't afford your food bill, you can't afford your rent, and you worry about if Colin Kaepernick gonna get a starting job in the NFL, although he got millions of dollars in the bank. Who gives a damn? All this kneeling, black folks still catching hell. What all that kneeling done? Always kneeling, submitting. Yes, master. Yes, master. Then y'all talking about Jackie Robinson as a sellout, and Jackie Robinson refused to salute the flag. He never stood for the Pledge of Allegiance. Jackie Robinson talked about the reasons why he never saluted the flag or stood for the national anthem in his autobiography. And this guy, you can't say he was no patriot because he fought for them. He served as lieutenant in the army, and he did all this shit and trailblazing and integration and civil rights. You can't say, well, and he was a Republican, so I guess Jackie Robinson is a sellout. No, you can't come like that. I can't come. But my thing is this: in 2021, why do you care what the athletes think or do outside of playing their sport? I don't look at NBA. I don't look at NFL. I stopped looking at Sports Center stuff years ago. I used to look at Sports Center and ESPN growing up, in middle school and high school. And in the early 2000s, maybe around 2010, I still was looking at it actively, but I stopped. I don't care. Because black folks, to me, are strange. You get passionate about sports, about kids' games. But when it come time to feed your kids, to educate your kids, you nonchalant about it. You passive aggressive on it. You want no parts in politics. You rather play. Sports is politics. Who gets to start as quarterback is political. So you can't escape politics. Politics is in all areas of human activity. It's all areas of human activity. So you can't escape that. But Kwame Brown, my thing is this, people say, well, Kwame Brown talking all that, but what about Tariq Nasheed? Y'all said, why is it okay for certain people to talk how Kwame's talking? Why is it not okay for Kwame to defend himself and talk the way he talking? But yeah, I like Tariq Nasheed. I got the buck breaking shit. I know like y'all say, yo, well, he talk about Tariq Nasheed. I got the buck break. I haven't looked at it yet. I'm gonna check it out this weekend, but y'all be asking me what I think about what Professor Black Truth and Jason Black, and I actually connected Jason Black to Judge Joe Brown for his race war documentary. I got the receipts on that, and I don't be watching a lot of these cats, man. No disrespect to them. I mean, I look at some of the people every now and then, but I like kicking it with y'all. Like some of y'all, they got the smaller platforms. I respect your word more than a lot of the other cats. Cause a lot of times y'all doing it, y'all in y'all communities talking about what's going on in your community and stuff like that. Sometimes really they say all politics are really local. So it's like it's interesting to hear some of you other, women and brothers out there, sisters and brothers doing y'all thing on y'all respective platforms that may not have the following, because Kwame, he getting a lot of sensationalism, but there's a lot of meat to what he's saying. A lot of stuff he's playing their game. And playing it well. He may not play to his highest level in the NBA, but at this game, he's excelling at this trolling game that he's doing. And really, he's trolling in truth telling because he's exposing things. He's hiding contradictions. But like I said, I have no problem with Matt Barnes or Steven Jackson or Gilbert Arenas. I just actually, when I saw that All the Smoke podcast, I was very impressed with the level of intelligence of Gilbert Arenas. He's brilliant. And Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson, they brilliant too. Black men, we're brilliant. But we got to start loving each other and loving ourselves enough. Say, you know what, I acknowledge that I may have hurt you. It may not be my intent, but don't act like we never been doing this forever. You don't act like that they wasn't going at Booker T. Washington and Booker T. Washington wasn't going at other people. Can you imagine Marcus Garvey and Du Bois had an IG live, Instagram live? You see how Tariq Nasheed and Dr. Umar Johnson went at each other a couple years ago. You look at Kevin Samuels and Dr. Umar Johnson. You imagine if Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois and Marcus Garvey had a versus even, or Instagram live feud, or they go on Facebook Live and they'll go on YouTube streaming. Yeah, like this stuff is new. When we gonna get together as a people? We don't supposed to all get together. You find your goddamn tribe. You find the people that you can work with and get with them. Just because we label a certain group of people don't mean we all the same. You got Asians, and then you got Koreans, you got Vietnamese, you got Filipino, you got all type of Asians. The Japanese can get along with the Chinese and vice versa. What I'm saying is stop this bullshit, fake unity bullshit. I don't want to work with all black people. All black folks ain't my friends. All skin folk and kinfolk. And kinfolk, sometimes you can't work with them either. Nothing like family to bring you up or bring you down. But the choice is yours. It's always a choice, brother. Jackie Robinson, if you know the history, actual history of Jackie Robinson, you realize he was robbed. He was cheated by the white man several times. I can name several times with Jackie Robinson talk about betrayal. One thing was that he was used as a Trojan horse to destroy the Negro Leagues. Truth be told, Jackie Robinson was not the best player in the Negro Leagues. You had a lot of greater players. But Jackie Robinson was a hothead, which is interesting because people say, well, Jackie Robinson took it, but Jackie Robinson was a hothead. You remember, if you do your research, that he was court-martialed back in 1944 in Fort Hood, Texas. He almost got into a shootout with the MPs down there on a bus. And he was a hothead. But yeah, he was a man. But he was used and exploited by the white power structure in order to undermine black solidarity. I can tell you, I'm gonna name all this because you brought this up. You can do that heavy lifting. I know you heavy lefty, but just do some lifting. Let's do some intellectual elevation here. Jackie Robinson was great. He was a great man. Now, what you think about his politics and all this stuff, that's a different story, but he made his mark on history. Never forget that Jackie Robinson had a brother who was a brilliant athlete himself. He competed in the 1936 Olympics with Jesse Owens. As great as he was, I think he became just a janitor. But he was a hothead like his brother too, from my understanding. But with Jackie Robinson, he was court-martialed. He beat it. He wasn't no punk. He wasn't a coward. You know, I'm not talking about, you know, he was brave. But let's get into this. Yeah, it'd be a great versus, and we could make it happen with technology. But Jackie Robinson was utilized and pimped by the white man several significant occasions. They used him as a Trojan horse to destroy black economics. Because people all want to make this case where, Brother Ron, you and Dick Gregory said that the Negro Leagues were more successful than the major leagues. Yes, they were more popular among black and whites, standing room only crowds, right? Don't confuse being more popular with wise money management. You look at TLC, they sold all them records, but yet they end up broke, right? Tony Braxton. You can still be successful and end up broke. Poor money management and poor record keeping. Because you got folks thinking that this league was inferior. It wasn't inferior. Is it that they didn't do enough to protect its institutions, protect it as an institution, but also keep track of the actual scores and the stats, and also take care of the money situation. Because what the major league did, they were poaching the talent of the major league without compensating the owners of the Negro Leagues. But what happened was Jackie Robinson was playing on the only team that was outright owned by a white man in the Negro Leagues, J.L. Wilkinson. He owned the Kansas City Monarchs, who was from Iowa. He was real good friends with Branch Rickey, and they made that sweetheart deal where they got Jackie Robinson off the Kansas City Monarchs and got him through the farm system and became a Brooklyn Dodger. But that's how white folks got a code. Y'all talking about this code that don't exist among black people. It's some foolery. Y'all think a code is supposed to be discussed on Clubhouse. Y'all think we're supposed to expose all the grand scheme of things to everybody on YouTube. That ain't how a code works. If you got to ask me what a code is and how it works, you don't know. It doesn't exist. It's like the mafia. If you don't know that it exists, it doesn't exist. That's how these codes work. If you don't know it exists, it doesn't exist. But they use Jackie Robinson. So you got to think about it. Hank Aaron died recently, right? Ernie Banks died recently. These guys were product of Negro Leagues baseball. Willie Mays, Birmingham Barons, product of Negro Leagues baseball. Roy Campanella, some of the greatest baseball players of all time, were Negro Leaguers. And then you had several different variations of the Negro Leagues. It's not just one Negro League. There's several different variations. Let's do the research on it. So don't confuse popularity with economics. You could be very popular and still be broke. But the Negro Leagues did make a lot of money, but the money was not always accounted for in the proper way. It was not always transparent. So let's get that. Don't get that twisted. Another way they use Jackie Robinson, when they used him to go after Paul Robeson, when the government used Jackie Robinson to go after Paul Robeson, because Paul Robeson was not behaving. I told you, Paul Robeson in the league by himself even Muhammad Ali can't touch Paul Robeson. And Muhammad Ali was great, but Paul Robeson had the blueprint before Muhammad Ali. And he also, like I say, he inspired Malcolm to be an excellent communicator. And Malcolm helped his oratorical skills by listening to Paul Robeson on the radio. So what I'm saying is the government used Jackie Robinson to try to be good cop, bad cop, good Negro, bad Negro. But the brilliance of Paul Robeson, even though Paul Robeson was exploited by the communists and all this, socialists and all this, he did not go for the okie doke. He did not engage. He did not lower himself to engage Jackie Robinson in that battle royale. Because they would be at a loss anyway. And then it was another time when Jackie Robinson tried to get Richard Nixon, because he was a Republican. Dr. King was a Republican. Jackie Robinson was a Republican. Jackie Robinson was campaigning for Richard Nixon. He wanted Richard Nixon to get Dr. King out of this prison work camp down in Georgia, because a lot of folks thought he was going to get killed down there in that prison work camp. And it was the Kennedy team that, as it appears, Leslie got Dr. King out of that prison work camp. I think JFK made a call to Coretta, the newspaper reported, and all this stuff. You can read into there's different variations and versions of that story. So Jackie Robinson, Jackie Robinson, they say he was crying, telling Richard Nixon, you just don't understand. You just don't understand. Because like Tony Gwynn, kind of sound like Jackie Robinson. And me and Branch Rickey, we ran. Jackie Robinson was a man. I remember, like, I read a story before he got court-martialed. He was, I think he was doing officer training, and he made a call talking about some discrimination thing. And the person on the other end of the phone thought he was a white man because of the way he sounded. You know, Jackie was born in Georgia, but he was raised in California. And Cali, y'all got some interesting accents. I mean, y'all talk about us down here, but it's like, you Mark Buster, Mark, you know, y'all got that thing going on. But like Jackie actually sounded like a white man. He didn't sound like Chadwick Boseman. And Chadwick Boseman did a great job of capturing the essence of Jackie Robinson. But check out Jackie Robinson playing himself in his own life story. Jackie Robinson did a life story of himself back in the 50s, I believe, and Ruby Dee played his wife. And Ruby Dee was fine, man. I didn't know how fine she was. And I saw that movie she did with my cousin. Oh my God, she was almost 50 in that movie. But Jackie Robinson played himself, but he was utilized. They didn't care that Jackie Robinson was an American hero. Richard Nixon, I don't care, Jackie. I'm not gonna get that nigger out of there. He's gonna stay there. You understand, Jackie Robinson? You understand, Jackie? You understand, Jackie? You gonna say, I am not a crook. Okay, let's get that straight. Then another thing. You know, Jackie Robinson at the end of his life, he died in his early 50s. He, you know, when you look at Jackie, he thought he was 80 years old because he had advanced diabetes. He had the sugar real bad, and he was legally blind. So by the time Jackie died, he was a broken man. And he was a bitter man because he saw how Major League Baseball lied to him because he wanted more black coaches and executives in baseball. You had that in the Negro Leagues, but by the time Jackie Robinson died, there were no black coaches in baseball. Or black managers. I'll say black managers in baseball. No, I think Frank Robinson, who just died not too long ago, became the first black manager in Major League Baseball. So this is, you know, we think things are successful because one person made it big. No, if we all losing, if one person make it and nobody else makes it, then mean we all lose. It's like with Jack Johnson when he became the heavyweight champion. He refused to fight other black boxers who were well qualified. You had some brilliant black boxers like Sam McVeigh. I could think of off the top of my head, never had a shot at the heavyweight title. You know, it took to Joe Louis back in the 30s to get a shot. So, you know, Jack Johnson did all that hell raising. I love Jack Johnson, but he did not give other brothers a chance to challenge him for the crown, to keep it in the family. He had that battle royale mentality. I'm the one and only Negro, last man standing mentality. So, damn, I talked about this for 40-something minutes. No, serving, look, the first black person to die for America's independence was a black man, Crispus Attucks, on March the 5th, 1770, known as the Boston Massacre. You could actually say that was a form of police brutality. So black folks, we always serve in this white man's army. We the best soldiers. But when it comes time for our liberation, nobody help us to liberate ourselves. We got to liberate ourselves, but we don't fight for ourselves. Like Malcolm said, you bleed for the white man in Korea. When the white man said bleed, you bleed for the white man in Korea, but you won't bleed for your own people in Mississippi. Therein lies the crazy problem of black people. The duality of being black in America. You fight, look, you die in foreign lands, names you cannot spell. And no people they call enemies in foreign lands come to your community, to your neighborhood, and become your bosses. They become responsible for your food supply. It's like you think about even, you know, people talk about Latasha Hollins. That's her name, Latasha Hollins. Hollins, I think the one Tupac talk about all the time. And God bless the dead. Tupac is the reason why a lot of y'all know about her. But I saw the documentary that came out on Netflix, and they were talking about how the people that grew up with Latasha Hollins, I think it doesn't, I don't know if I'm saying it right because I don't see it in front of me, but that when she got killed by that Korean lady that stole Arnold's wife, whatever, that woman was known for pointing guns at black kids. Before she killed Latasha, she was known, she had a reputation for pointing guns at black children at their store. Why would black people let their children patronize a person who does not respect their children? Why do black people teach their kids to respect authority? I'm just like Eric Cartman on South Park. Authority. Why are we respecting authority that doesn't respect us? And you wonder why our kids are screwed up and how we screwed up as a people. You allow the enemy to put your kids in danger for jungle juice. You think black folks thought it was okay for their kids to patronize a place where this woman will point gun at your kids for trying to buy orange juice, jungle juice, lemon heads, now and later, and they wonder why this ended up happening to Latasha, because y'all allowed that to happen. Just like when my uncle growing up, when black folks allowed pedophiles to operate freely without any type of consequences and repercussions, you get a generation of black boys screwed up. You undermine the black family because you cut off the head before the head could even get an understanding of what they're supposed to be doing, how they're supposed to think and move. So we got to start being honest about that, but we got to tell the truth about our people and be balanced. And I love Jackie Robinson, but he was used, like all of us are being used, to undermine our own liberation. And Jackie Robinson used to get in with Malcolm. He told me, Malcolm, you're not doing no red. You're not really doing anything, Malcolm. You just run your mouth. Like Thurgood Marshall felt like that about Malcolm and Martin. No, Thurgood Marshall was an FBI informant. I know Judge Joe Brown, I love Thurgood, but Thurgood was an FBI informant. This is not no rumor. This is well documented. Tell the whole truth. Because Thurgood, he always wanted to have a position in the federal government. He wanted power. And you want power in a system like this, you got to make deals with the devil at the highest levels. So Thurgood was close to J. Edgar Hoover. He was spying on the NACP. He doing all that good work with legal defense fund and all that stuff. And Brown v. Boyd, he still was spying on the NACP. So there were communists in the NACP. And Thurgood couldn't stand Malcolm X or the Nation of Islam. I remember reading, you go online and read this stuff. This stuff is not taboo. It's only taboo because a lot of y'all want to be willfully ignorant about stuff. He actually went to like some type of police chief convention down south. I don't know, it was South Carolina, North Carolina. He told them, do what you got to do. The Nation of Islam is like a threat. Do what you got to do. So Thurgood didn't have no love for Dr. King. He thought Dr. King was full of shit. In so many words, he said, man, look, I'm doing the real work through the course. This fool just walking around and doing fancy speeches. He's not really doing the real work. He thought that Dr. King was getting too much credit for the works he was doing in the courts and other stuff. So this is something you can easily look up. I'm not trying to, and I respect Thurgood on a lot of levels. He put his life on the line going down south, trying cases and stuff, almost getting lynched and hanged and getting to shootouts. And I mean, this stuff is real. Like if they told the truth about who we are, the people, you wouldn't need to look at no Justice League or the Avengers, because we the real superheroes and she-roos. This is why I do what I do. It's good to sensationalize shit, and I probably should have 100,000 plus subscribers. I don't care. They taking videos down right now. Every day. I don't know if this is gonna be up or whatever, but I hope y'all back these things up and save them to your libraries, because it may come a day. Yeah, it's interesting. Somebody said, come on a podcast. Yeah, you got my information, r2c2h2@gmail.com. Let me know. Speaking of that, I think it's a great time. I want to give a shout out. I would thank you. I really need that. Y'all don't know the words of encouragement and that y'all support means a lot, because sometimes I just want to quit. I'm like, man, this is just whatever. This stuff is crazy. But speaking of podcast, I want to give a shout out to Sister O'Donna podcast. I need to check her out and subscribe to her podcast. I had a great time on her show. Last Saturday, she pre-recorded me. And you go to her YouTube channel, O'Donna. Y'all should check it out. She got some brilliant stuff. She's a great comedy sketch artist. She did a lot of skits. She's brilliant, beautiful mind, beautiful. Thought she was underage at first. Hey man, I ain't trying to get the dude from that show. Hey Ron, you came here with some donuts. Yeah, I like donuts. What you talking about? I was just gonna teach her, tutor her. I didn't know she was 12. Now she's not really 12, but she's young, beautiful sister. Brilliant mind. She's very funny, naturally funny, gifted comedy sketch artist. O'Donna is her YouTube channel. I'm gonna play a little snippet. I mean, it's a decent amount, but I was talking to her about over an hour and 40 minutes. But I'm gonna play a little bit of their interview. And y'all support her channel because she also did a great interview with Dr. Phil Valentine. And, you know, Dr. Phil Valentine is a true elder. He's well respected. He has done the work on a consistent basis for decades. And that was the first guest on her podcast, and I was the second. She let me allow me time to talk about Baba Dick Gregory. It's like therapy a little bit, and share some things I normally wouldn't share about my experience with Baba Dick Gregory. But I just want to give her honor and thank her for the time on her podcast. I want to play a little bit of that podcast here, and then we'll talk about some Paul Mooney, and then we'll close it. And as we all be, News Free Dixie for the 21st century. Thank y'all for tolerating me. And yeah, I thought I told you that we won't stop. I'm not talking about quitting, but like they make it difficult. You know, I'm not talking about quitting, but they make it difficult. You know, like they removing stuff. Cause I have done a lot of videos. I don't know. It's like Facebook. They taking stuff. They get me in Facebook jail over things that I said or posted back in 2012. I mean, you going, how far y'all gonna go back and try to get me on stuff that I have forgotten I did? And it's not I'm doing anything illegal, but to be a free thinker and to encourage free thought is becoming almost illegal. It's almost illegal to have an independent thought, to challenge the official narrative, and to do things and be yourself. It's like they don't want you, like with these masks. It's confusing now because I go to places and people don't wear masks and people weird about vaccination. I don't care about all that stuff. I'm not here to, I mean, people, there's other things that's killing us too. It's not just, you know, things we think that's jabbing us and jabbing. It's other ways to kill people. And I'm gonna be careful what I talk about right now. But oh yeah, you was around then. You're your beautiful sister. You are sunshine. You know how to contact me. But thank you for being there when I had a couple of thousand subs. So you should already know that Dick Gregory was cursing me out. I appreciate it. But it's yeah, jabs. They are jabs. I'm gonna call them jabs. I'm not jabbing. We be jabbing. We be jabbing. Well, sunshine, keep on commenting. We need that sunshine. Amplify blessings. But let me play this from Old Donna. I don't even know if she's listening. She probably listen later on because she's a subscriber. But I just want to thank her once again for the opportunity to be on her show, talk about some real stuff. And I was able to open up because she's a natural. She put you at ease, man. She has a gift. So that's Old Donna. But let's play that some of the interview that we did that came out this week. Thank y'all. We all be News Free Dixie for the 21st century.
So I'm saying, like, they play by different rules, and we got these folks, they don't live in our reality.
Like Bill Gates can give away $45 billion and not kill himself.
Yeah.
You got folks getting killed over $20 and $5 and dollars, you know, and nickels and dimes. Bill Gates, okay, it's cheaper not to keep her, but please don't tell everybody. here, baby. Because she got that death switch. You ain't gonna be able to just knock her off in an accident, okay?
Yeah.
I'm sure of that. You know, she's seen things with him and Jeffrey Epstein that nobody should probably ever see or know. So with that said, but it is weird that you penalize folks for existing. Like, you know, nobody asked to be on unemployment. Nobody asked for this thing they did last year to try to sabotage you know who from getting reelected, but that's another story altogether. But my thing is this: we gotta understand what's going on. Like the you know, black folks love affair with the Democratic Party, right? You need to learn from Melinda Gates. Get your receipts together and get your bag and stop making it all personal and keep it business.
Yeah.
We too in love, like, you know, the Democratic Party never ever misled us on who they really were. They were started to keep and enforce the institute of slavery. They started the Ku Klux Klan. You know, they didn't pass the anti-lynching bill. When Franklin Roosevelt was stacking the Supreme Court, he didn't try to pass the anti-lynching bill. You know, black folk getting killed. You talking about his other stuff with the chopsticks agenda, you know, chopsticks and noodles agenda, whatever.
you know, nobody ever faced what we face as Black people in this country. We the most despised, the most bullied people in America. And everybody dump whatever they want to dump on us. You know what I'm saying? We the target practice for everybody. We the clay pigeons for everybody. You know, they shoot us at all times. But people got to really study this economic thing. To me, this is more like the 30s than it is like the 60s, because you had the rise of fascism. You know, you had the Great Depression economically. You also had a lot of movement in the streets that was suppressed. But you also had union organizing, all this stuff going on. We don't have the unions right now. Like Democratic Party basically traded in the unions for the banks, for the globalists. They sold out the unions, they sold out the people. But you know, but unions were formed to keep Black folks from being employed at the beginning too. So I mean, nothing has ever really benefited Black people. You know, we just found a way to make it. And then once we got to a certain point, they took it back. They rolled it back on us. You know, we're gonna take it back. Y'all doing too well. You know, my understanding, like you look at Black Wall Street, I think you had 6 airplanes owned by Black people during that era. And I was, you know, and it's like I talked to some of the old timers that tell me, well, you know, they use our planes to bomb us. Now, I was there that weekend in Tulsa. They had, oh no, they didn't use our plane. It was National Guard. So now it went from this white mob to National Guardsmen having airplanes bombing Black people on Black Wall Street. And then like everybody said, then some people said, oh yeah, they were our planes. Because they did they had a dude named Simon Berry. He was a prominent Black businessman, entrepreneur. He owned his own airplane. They had a picture of him with his airplane. And they said the planes came from a private airfield. But I believe that, you know, they always use our resources against us. You know what I'm saying? So it won't surprise me if they actually did use our planes to bomb us. Because a lot of people didn't believe that they used planes against a city in America to bomb people. And they did, you know, and you know, Charlie Wilson, the Gap Band, he's from Greenwood. He's from Tulsa. Greenwood, Archer, and Pine. That's the Gap Band, right? He wrote this song, You Dropped the Bomb on Me. He said it wasn't about Black Wall Street, but it was, brother, because it was in your subconscious, because you knew a survivor who lived to be 100-something years old who told you the story about what happened to them, about the bombs being dropped from the air. So as an artist, it's interesting to me. Artists, we know what we're doing. A lot of times we know what the fuck we're doing. It's like even on us, you're a great songwriter. They always, you actually listen to an interview of a songwriter, say, I didn't know I was like auto writing or some shit. Yeah. Like the word, I didn't, you know, it was just coming to me. It was streaming through me. We're just a conduit for the universe. Like an artist would say, I did this picture because I don't really know. I'm saying that because it might sound good for you all, but you really bring, as the viewer, you or a listener, you bring your own experiences to the piece. You could interpret the piece on your own terms and it can still be true for you because it's based on your experiences, based on how your thoughts and feelings about the piece. You can look at a Van Gogh Starry Night. You can say, this is how I feel about it. I don't know what Van Gogh was really thinking. You know, maybe I read a letter to his brother Theo, he might tell you, but like based on your experience, you can add a whole nother dimension to the telling of their story and it still be correct. You know, that's how I feel like you can read a book and you get a different interpretation out the book. Yeah. From everybody else. And you have a book club, people discuss like what they thought the book meant, the symbolism, all this other stuff. But yeah, but you know, so you have things that inspire you. But I look at artists with synthesizers and the conduits of the universe. And we're open to a lot of stuff. So that's why we could be crazy. Because we open ourselves to a lot of things. Like you look at Jimi Hendrix. I talked to people that knew Jimi Hendrix, that played with Jimi Hendrix or whatever. But you know, people actually get this popular perception of him being a junkie. He wasn't a junkie. He was just like to experiment with stuff. You know, he called his band The Experience. He liked to experience with different things, dibble and dabble and move on. He was all about, you know, living life and partaking in everything that he wanted to do. He only lived to be 27, but I mean, he did a lot in those 27 years. But what I'm saying is I don't know what I'm saying. I guess what I'm saying is I'm just talking a lot of noise, but my thing is that a lot of us don't really know what we're doing when we do what we do. I just know it works best when you trust your instincts, regardless of what the outcome may appear to be or perceived to be by others and even yourself at the time. I think you could never go wrong when you trust yourself, become more intuitive with yourself. I know you talk about, you know, we were talking about, so you like Sidney Bechet, or you was introduced to Sidney Bechet. Yeah. I mean, talking about Sidney Bechet. And his birthday was yesterday, May 14th.
I was like, oh, Sidney Bechet is amazing. And I spelled his last name wrong. And I said he played the flute. He doesn't play the flute. He plays
Well, it's kind of like the flute. Like, I guess like you can look at soprano, saxophone, clarinet, kind of like a flute.
I'm like,
It's a wind instruments or whatever.
I'm sorry. I was ignorant and retarded. But
No, you're not ignorant, retarded. No, it was when I bring up Sidney Bechet, and he's a fascinating individual. Like Duke Ellington said, probably be the most unique man in our music. And what people don't understand about Sidney Bechet, he's not well known like he should be in America. To me, I think the baby, the rapper, is Sidney Bechet's revenge. I think the baby is Sidney Bechet reincarnated. I really do. He's a Capricorn, so he's an Earth sign. Sidney is a Taurus, Earth sign. So I think Sidney Bechet's act came back as the baby to get his acclaim over here in the state, to get what he could get while he was in America. He had to leave America; he couldn't make no money, and he went to France, became a national hero. He had a nice recording contract, made a nice living. Died a national hero. He died on his birthday 62 years ago. He was 62. 6 + 2 is 8. Interesting number, but 8, I guess. But Sidney Bechet is fascinating to me because Duke Ellington first heard, I believe, Sidney Bechet at Howard Theater in DC back in 23. And that's the sound he was chasing for his whole career. And Duke Ellington had a band for 50 some years. But you listen to Duke Ellington and listen to Sidney Bechet, you can say, okay, because Sidney Bechet actually played with Duke Ellington's band, the Washingtonians, I believe. And but that sound is crazy, the vibrato, the wideness of it. It's like you could tell he was a romantic, but he had like a lot of passion for living. That sound was amazing because I think even he trained Johnny Hodges. I don't know, you know who Johnny Hodges was. He's an alto saxophonist for Duke Ellington. They call him Jeep or the Rabbit. I mean, he had like a smooth, sexy, like you could make you cream or something. They had one of those sounds like on his alto. I'm talking about, he's just women probably throwing pennies at him on the stage, whatever. He just had a great sound. But he was taught allegedly by Sidney Bechet. I think Sidney Bechet was going around with his sister, and he taught Johnny Hodges how to have that sound. And you can hear Sidney Bechet and Johnny Hodges sound. And also with Sidney Bechet, Woody Allen, I think he plays soprano saxophone and clarinet too. His music hero is Sidney Bechet. Like he was inspired by Sidney Bechet to play, I think, clarinet and saxophone, soprano saxophone. I think there's a documentary about Woody Allen going around traveling, playing Dixieland recordings, playing like Sidney Bechet. And the theme song for his movie, I think Midnight in Paris. I don't know if you even look at Woody Allen movies. Probably say, this guy like R. Kelly and Woody Allen.
I know. I'm like, I'm trying to like it, but I'm like, dude.
But Woody Allen was a very successful stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, you know how to tell stories, but Woody Allen's weird. But I'm looking at, he like that movie Midnight in Paris is cool to me. I like Woody Allen movies. I'm just different. Like I like Bullets Over Broadway and stuff like that he did. And it's kind of like it's weird. It's a double standard. As far I don't look at the personal lives of the people a lot of times. Like, the art is something else. You know what I'm saying? If you look at anybody's life real close, it's really effed up. You know what I'm saying? If you follow me around for 24 hours with a camera, you'll be disappointed, trust me. But there was a theme song for Midnight in Paris that came out a couple years ago. I think Owen Wilson was the lead. It's actually a pretty good movie because it's about this dude traveling back in time to the the golden age, like the 20s, like the Harlem Renaissance, all this stuff, travel back in time to meet all these historical figures like Brick Talk Smith, who was a famous black club owner from Virginia, but she owned a lot of clubs over in France and Europe and stuff like that. And you had Clive Owen playing Ernest Hemingway, which was pretty cool. And all these characters he was mean, but it's funny. But with Sidney Bechet, to me, he was kind of like a gangster rapper in a way because he actually got in a shootout in Paris. You ever heard about that? He got in a shootout over chord changes with I think a pianist from Chicago. They were shooting down the streets of Paris over chord changes. It's like some Harlem Nights type of stuff. But he got arrested, spent like almost a year in prison, and got deported, from France. But came back as a hero to France back in the 50s. Wow. So I mean, it's fun. But people should read his book called Treated Gentle, his autobiography. The thing about Sidney Bechet, he was functional illiterate. He couldn't read or write. So he was telling his story to this guy. And I think the guy said it was weird writing his story because the Sidney Bechet he knew was not as generous or kind or considerate as in the book. You know what I'm saying? Because Sidney Bechet, like I said, he got in a shootout with a dude over chord changes, supposedly. I think he hit a woman by accident. He trying to shoot the guy. He couldn't shoot straight. He could play great, but couldn't shoot straight. But without Kenny G, without Sidney Bechet, there'd be no Kenny G.
Kenny
I was out without Kenny G. I mean, we won't miss Kenny G, if he ever existed. But you have Kenny G because of Sidney Bechet. Because Kenny G is known for soprano saxophone. And really, there was not another dominant force on the soprano saxophone until John Coltrane. Mm-hmm. It took a decades, for them to get somebody that had an alternate and interpretation of voice on that instrument, because it's such a hard instrument to master because of the tone. Now trying to get it in tone and all that, whatever, in tune, whatever. But my favorite things, you could thank Sidney Bechet for inspiring Coltrane to do my favorite things on soprano saxophone. I would think so anyway. But they actually destroyed his home, his childhood home in New Orleans. They had a policy of neglect. They let the thing rot for decades. You had people trying to get people to preserve it. People, oh man, this is a childhood home with Sidney Bechet. He started out as a child prodigy. He was playing in professionally when he was 6 years old. And he was teaching folks probably twice his age how to play like clarinet and all this stuff, because he was well-known. He played all types of different instruments and stuff like that. He had a recording called The Sheik of Arabia, where he played, he, I guess, layer upon layers. Like he played the drums and the piano. He played a tuba, saxophone, all this stuff. He was playing it himself like a one-man man. And I can't hear the piano in there, but I guess there's a piano somewhere in there. But he was a unique guy. I mean, he had a tailor shop back in the 30s up in New York during the Great Depression. Him and his other musician named Tommy Latner, great trumpet player. Friends with gangsters. Like he was real close to like Jack Legs Diamond's brother. I don't know. I just rambling on and on, but people should check out his book. And he got a little nice plot buried over in France, buried with his second wife. I didn't know he had married a sister from New Orleans and had a child by her named Joseph Bechet. So he got lineage out there. He got a bloodline that continues. He got a son he had with his second wife over in France. He's a musician. And I think he's a drummer and an arranger, composer. Danny Bechet, I believe his name is. I'm just talking about, I'm sorry, this is weird stuff talking about.
We've been talking for a while, so we can wrap it up with what do you think Dick would say right now to us?
What he would say? He would probably say, what kind of fool is you? And curse you and say, how's the family? They were like, what kind of fool is you? You just, motherfucker. He's just cursed. Last time I spoke to Dick was Mother's Day. Last time I saw him was Mother's Day of 2017. So Mother's Day is kind of hit different for me, just thinking about that. I went to, he did a show up in St. Louis, like a homecoming show at the Helium. I think the Helium Club or whatever is part of the mall.
Okay, yeah.
The Galleria, I think. And he did a show and he was running late. Like he was coming from the airplane or the airport straight to the show. And I try to tell people like all these conspiracy theories, maybe Dick had an unusual life. Nobody dies of natural death, I believe, anyway. I mean, there's always something else that have helped you to die. Well, you've been exposed to asbestos or something. It's always something that's helping you to die. And, like he was 80-something years old, right? So he was crisscrossing the country on an airplane. Instead of you sometimes going to the hotel, he goes straight to the venue. So there's a lot for anybody, any age to deal with, like the hustle and bustle, all that stuff he was doing, especially for an 80-something-year-old man. So he was rushed to the theater or to the place, and I'm young, I'm still young, you don't be thinking about stuff like that in hindsight. So we was talking and stuff. Y'all be fucking quiet. I'm trying to get prepared, man. These people spend money on these tickets. If I'm not kidding it, huh? I'm trying to get prepared, mother. Y'all get out of here. We're talking this shit. No. Okay. I understand that now. Look back at hindsight, he was on a lot of stress because a lot of other things going on too. And I know Dick was dealing with some stuff health-wise for a minute. You know what I'm saying? Like his circulatory problems because of the things he done to help bring awareness to hunger and stuff like that, like running cross country. Yeah. And his doctor at the time told him, if you run cross country, you're gonna suffer like long-term health consequences. And he said he was okay. I remember I was in the hotel. He showed me the effects of doing that type of stuff to his body. Because what people don't understand, like when Dick was fasting, he was starving himself. He wasn't just fasting like a normal, like people will fast now and do all the proper things to, you know, make sure that they don't dehydrate or die. He was actually starving himself a lot of times. And it was like, I'm going to talk to the late, great Reverend C.T. Vivian. And I asked him the first time he met Dick Gregory. I remember me. Yeah, I remember meeting Dick. He was like about 350 pounds and he's smoking cigarettes and drinking beer or alcohol. And, you know, people getting mad at Dick Gregory over 300 pounds. But he was, people talk about it. I don't see no pictures of it. They get a good job of scrubbing the internet, whatever. But they say he was on 300 pounds and he's smoking packs of cigarettes a day. But one of the things that stopped him to get more health conscious was getting more conscious anyway. When he stopped eating to protest the Vietnam War. This is when he started really getting to his health kick thing.
Yeah.
And he lost a lot of that weight because he was not just fat, he was starving himself. So he went all the way down to 100 pounds or something at one point. He did things in the extreme. You know what I'm saying? But it's like Jimi Hendrix. He just, you know, it's all about the experiences. Like, you know, I'm going to take it all in. And while he's doing all the experimentation, he do a lot of good. But getting back to the last time I saw him, you know, this is homecoming. He did the first set. It was standing room only almost. I mean, it was just packed. So they put on another show. They added another show. And Maxine Waters was there. Yeah, Auntie Maxie Pad. Whatever her name. Maxine Waters' interest. Yeah, and some other people, some notable St. Louis people was there, millionaires and stuff like that. Oh man. It like Maxine Waters said something about me. Kyle was like, you know, we was sitting at the table, right? Between sets and stuff. He was out there mingling with the people, sitting down with his people. And Maxine Waters was next to him, like eating his fries and chicken fingers, you know, and all this stuff, chicken tenders, just eating off his plate and stuff. And I was just taking pictures, like other people taking pictures. And Maxine said something to Dick. He's recording us. I'm just taking a picture. And Dick, like, what? Erase that. I said, what is it? I'm just taking pictures. There ain't nothing to erase. Then Dick said some stuff. I couldn't even hear what he was saying. He said something about, yeah, this is the dude, Chicago, Barack Obama boys basketball team. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Everybody look at me like, I don't know what he's talking about. Me and Obama and boys basketball team in Chicago. I just heard a certain word. I could hear everything. I was like at the other end.
Yeah.
And so after that, before his set, you know, they're taking pictures and stuff. And I wanted to get a picture with him. And even though Maxine lied on me, what else she told me, I was trying to get a picture with him and Maxine. And Dick said, no, we're not gonna take this. Like, he just went off on me. Like, it was like he was like a drill sergeant. He was going off. Yeah. And like out in the opening, you know, people was like, you know, going into like whatever. You had people out there that saw that. And like, you know, this mother, I said, I can't believe he went off me like this, you know, in front of people like this. But, you know, it's funny because that second act, it was the best act I ever seen him do.
Oh, yeah.
It was the greatest act I ever seen him do. Like, his ass was like in the zone. And so it was funny, because I was probably the person left the loudest in the room, even though he did me like that. You know, so like after everything was over, he came up to me, like one of his people, like he's homeboy from St. Louis, right? So he got a lot of family and friends. He had his nephew out there from L.A. that was there to see, because he was dealing with a lot of stuff, some stuff going on with him personally, like health-wise. So one of the family friends come in, he really loved you, man. How you love? What the hell you get that love? Yeah, man, he really likes you. He really loves you. It indicated to me like nothing happens. I'm like, man, sometimes we take some pictures and shit. I got pictures. He said, man, sometimes I wonder if you were aging or not, man. I think you my good friend and you do some crazy shit. I was like, what are you talking about? He said, man, I'm going to see you in Arkansas. You going to see me in Little Rock? So he had another thing coming on Little Rock. You know, his last gig he actually did was in Arkansas. But this was like before that gig. And I said, yeah, but I said, I ain't gonna never see this dude again. That's why I said, I ain't gonna never forget all that. You know what I'm saying? This dude crazy. Because he not paying me to be like this. This is so. But then it's something that happened that night that actually probably saved his life. You know, I don't think he ever knew about it. Because he said something to somebody that he probably shouldn't have said. I mean, it's Dick Gregory, but the dude took it wrong. So I actually had to intervene, and then I'll probably say that, but but everything was cool. He survived that night. But it was interesting. Like that was the last time. But there's a picture of me with Bobby just looking at me crazy, like in his face. Like, no, I'm just looking in the camera. He's looking, what the fuck, man? What the fuck going on? You an agent? So it's funny. But in hindsight, first, like, man, this is bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is, then like, I'm glad he did me like that because it made me tougher. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of folks can't take that. Cause I know I try to introduce people to Dick Gregory. They say, well, I don't want me. He might curse me out. But if he curse you out and say, how's the family? That's an honor. Yeah. I mean, he likes you. Yeah. Cause he'll curse you out. I mean, I talked to his family members. I mean, can you imagine having Dick Gregory in your home, living with Dick Gregory? Would you want to live with Dick Gregory? I know you're a fan. Would you want to live with Dick Gregory? Come on, man.
1 week. 1 week.
1 week, right. But get all you can. Get all you can and get out. But it was interesting. Like I said, I remember I waited for him like 13 hours one time. I think about 13, 12 hours in a hotel lobby in New York City back in 2016. Like I went, like I said, that same week we had his birthday party. He was surprised to see me at his birthday party at Caroline. So I decided to stay around New York City for a couple of days and interview him. Kept on missing each other. And then I said, you know what? He told me to come to his hotel right across the street from Madison Square Garden. I can't remember the name of the hotel. But I was there like over 10 plus hours. And like the security was checking it out. He was trying to make small talk. Yeah, I used to live in Nashville or whatever. What's this got to do with me sitting in your hotel lobby for hours on end? And I was there to after midnight. And I don't know what I was doing. Maybe looking through my phone or something. Then I saw somebody's shoes. Hey, Brother Ron. I said, what? Oh, Dick, it's you? Yeah, man. He said, like, what happened with it was he didn't know he was going out of the city for so long. Like, he went to see some type of spiritual guide or shaman or something like that. And they read him something, whatever. And he had one of his assistants with him who, when he come to New York City, she would be around, take him around, make sure he get to his places. So he was gone for a minute. He was gone longer than he thought he was going to be gone. So we went to the bodega right up the street from the hotel. And he was getting late night dinner, whatever. And this is why I saw Dick had, I saw the bologna and tuna come out. He put a little bit of it back. I said, whatever, man. Now, you eat your bologna and tuna. People think you're hereditary anyway. You already small, whatever. You pay your dues. So eat your little food. And I mean, we was in bodega like young black dudes, right? And somebody said, hey, man, it's Baba Dick Gregory. Hey, yo, son, it's Baba Dick Gregory. So they started talking, happy young black guys, right? They were happy to see Baba Dick Gregory. Yo, son, it's Baba Dick, man. What's up? Hey, how y'all doing? How's the family? You know how Dick Gregory. Yeah. Then we walking outside back to the hotel. One of the young guys came out the grocery store. Dick was talking to me about something. Then young guy kept on interrupting Dick. Hey, Baba Dick Gregory. Hey, wait a minute, man. I'm saying here, we about to go have dinner with a friend of mine, and you keep on interrupting me, man. But I don't want to hear that shit. You don't give this shit to Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby, I do more shit for y'all than Bill Cosby. You don't do this shit to him? Huh? And dude, you thought dude would be mad. Dude was happy to get cursed out by Dick Gregory. It was like it made his night. It probably made his own life. He probably tell this story to his grandkids or whatever one day. He was a young guy, but I'm saying like, Dick, so you want to do this to Bill Cosby? Look what I do all for you black people. I'm trying to go to eat with my friend, and you keep on following me around. Stop following me around. All that crazy stuff. But anyway, it was funny. But that night, I spent the night in his room, and Dick was like a mad scientist. This is my even staying with Einstein, because he had stuff all over the place. Yeah. Like you couldn't even move like stuff, like newspapers, clothes, stuff in the restroom. I had to use like, hey, whatever, man. I take my chance. Stuff everywhere, right? But I want to Dick every sleep though, because Dick is so hyper and stuff. And the thing about Dick Gregory, when he sleeps, he sleeps. He'll get a deep sleep here. So I spent a night in the hotel with him. And the next morning, next day, whatever, we do this interview. I think it's probably the most popular Dick Gregory interview I ever did. You know what I'm saying? In terms of him just sitting up talking about Trump and all this stuff. His hair all over his place is, bland background. That's in a New York City hotel. So I waited for like 12 or 13 hours and paid off with that interview that we did. And so, yeah, Dick Gregory is interesting. He's a fascinating dude, man. I can't say he's missed because he's just so, like I said, omnipresent. But yeah, I think about him every day. So I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know. I told you anything of worth.
No,
Yeah, I was spilling the tea and then some. No, Donna, Sister Donna really made me feel comfortable or comfortable. I think I'm saying, right? I know it's late at night. I really felt in a very good place and space with Sister Donna. She's very good person. I could pick up on her vibrations. So she had me spilling the tea, telling things I normally wouldn't say. You know, I got a lot of other stuff to say, but I want to shout out to her. And y'all support her channel because like I said, she got a great Dr. Phil Valentine show on there. Well, I didn't mean to play that much of the interview, but I know I want to make sure I give her her proper due. Y'all can find her, take a look. It's all online, but I really enjoyed myself, and I look forward to having her on my show on this platform where I held the platform to put people on. I know I gotta reach out to some people. I'm gonna show her YouTube channel right quick. That's Donna Morley, Sketch Improv, O'Donna Podcast. I mean, she got some great comedy sketch. I mean, it's better than Saturday Night Live and Mad TV. I mean, I could see her being on Mad TV actually, doing some things with that beautiful black sister. I think Deborah Wilson, I think her name was, the black woman that was on Mad TV back in the day. To me, they were better than Saturday Night Live when they were in their prime. I don't know if Mad TV still come on, but O'Donna, check her out. Blow up her YouTube channel. She's worth it. She got great content. Very talented sister. Very, just she cool. I mean, check out some of her commentary videos, sketches, skits, music videos, things of that nature. So thank you, O'Donna, for letting me be on your platform. Thoroughly enjoyed myself on your platform. So let's and Heavy Lefty, I appreciate you clarifying because I saw your comment. I don't want you to think I was trying to attack you, but I just, everything moves kind of fast. And I saw what you said. You said you was replying to another person in the chat. So I would assume that you was talking about what I was saying, but I didn't take it personal. But I saw it as a golden opportunity to really go deeper into the Jackie Robinson thing. And like I said, Jackie Robinson is a hero. And some things were misguided, but same thing with Paul Robeson. It could be said about Malcolm. So nobody's above critique, and everybody can learn from everybody. So thank you. I don't want you to feel like I was trying to attack you personally. I don't know you, but I thank you for supporting the channel and for sharing your input. And I encourage everybody just to share their input and be a part of the conversation. But yeah, but like I said, Dick Gregory actually, let me see. I want to share this because I'm gonna have his son, Dr. Christian Gregory, on hopefully soon. I want to say tomorrow. We supposed to have been on today, but because of Paul Mooney dying, Paul Mooney knew how to make a grand exit. He died on Malcolm X's birthday of all birthdays to die on. Let me share this information. So I'll be on the lookout because I don't see people really talking about it too much, but it's a great documentary coming out about Dick Gregory by Baba Dick Gregory. Y'all should check it out. It's going to be out, I think, 4th of July officially on Showtime. But it's going to be premiering at the Tribeca Film Festival, I think, or whatever the festival they have. It's called The One and Only Dick Gregory. That's the name of it. It says Dick Gregory was an icon for Black America, a comedian who used his considerable public platform for activism during the civil rights movement of the 1960s. He was the rare entertainer who felt almost as at home on the couch of the Tonight Show as he did on the front lines of the fight for racial equity and justice. Comprised of stunning archival footage and contemporary interviews, Andre Gaines's brilliant debut takes a close look at Gregory's legacy, documenting his many personal reinventions throughout the decades while hearing from the countless entertainers, Dave Chappelle and Chris Rock among them, who have been inspired by his blueprint. The film solidly tackles its mission to expose the work of this genius to a new generation providing a caring and thrilling portrait of Black excellence against all odds. Executive produced by Kevin Hart and Lena Waithe, the one and only Dick Gregory shines a light on this inimitable man in a way that is long overdue. Written by Lauren Hammonds, part of the Juneteenth programming. And it said, after the movie, a conversation with Andre Gaines, executive producer Lena Waithe, and special guests on the impact that Dick Gregory's work has had on subsequent generations of artists and activists. Long overdue. So this is like Andre Gaines. I'm gonna talk about. I met Andre Gaines at Baba's Wake, but he contacted me actually. I want to say back maybe 2015. I got the email somewhere, but he was talking about working on Dick Gregory. He had either a GoFundMe or a Kickstarter. He was trying to raise a 6-figure film budget for this epic documentary on Dick Gregory. He actually was following around Baba Dick Gregory in L.A., I believe, filming him and stuff like that with his crew. And he reached out to me because he noticed that, like I said, I was one of the people that brought Dick Gregory to this current young generation of people. He was reintroduced to another generation of folk, and really what happened was that viral review he did, a Django Unchained, calling out Spike Lee, because I remember when I put it out there, I didn't think nothing of it, man. I was like, I talked to Dick Gregory about an hour or so. I cut it up, and I want to make sure I put that Django Unchained review by itself. Next thing I know, Dick is calling me with Lil on the phone saying, man, thank you. I just got a call for Quentin Tarantino and Reginald Hudlin and Jamie Foxx and all these people thanking me for my endorsement of that movie, and they saw your clip that we did. I want to thank you. And when you ever need me to be on your show, let Lil know we make it happen. So, I mean, like, at that point, I've been knowing Dick, or been interviewing Dick in 2011, but it was that interview, cutting and editing that review he did of Django, that it went viral. This is right before the inauguration of Barack Obama for a second time. And it's funny how life works. Cause I went through a breakup with a woman. She was a Sagittarius. I'm a Taurus, and Sagittarius are interesting people. I like to look at them and all that stuff. But anyway, so I was going through this crazy, weird breakup with this woman. Lived out the state. Remember, I saw Django in December, late December, I believe. I think it was late December after Christmas, and it was impressive. And I remember I said, let me talk to Dick Gregory, because I took a time off from doing We All Be. Like, I took a break. I was like, I can't, this stuff is crazy. So I talked to Baba, and he talked about this, and it went viral. Cause I had people from all around the country calling me about their interview that month in January 2013. And the rest is history. But anyway, you see all the people they got listed: Andre Gaines. Yeah, interesting people. I believe I met one of his people that worked with him, sister. They was at Baba Dick Gregory's homecoming. I met Andre Gaines for the first time in person at Baba Dick Gregory's homecoming. He actually interviewed me. I don't know if it make the cut because I'm not a celebrity like that, but they got Chris Rock and Harry Belafonte, a lot of people in there. But you see that, right? I think I'm showing the screen. Okay, yeah, it's sold out. You can't see it. So I think Christian told me that it's going to be debuting nationally around 4th of July. But it's sold out on Juneteenth. Is being shown at 4 p.m. New York City, sold out. Then they're going to film it streaming online June 20th, 6 p.m. That's sold out. Sold out. Dick is still hot, man. Dick is alive. Baba lives. But what a ride, man. But that's Baba Dick Gregory, OG. Okay. Yeah, it was an honor, man. I remember when I saw Dick Gregory in Kansas City. It was weird. I saw him in August of 2016 at the Kansas City Improv in Kansas City, Missouri. And he was happy to see me. He didn't know I was going to come to Kansas City. And I remember talking to him the next day. And he was saying how, that the internet, he's bigger now than he was when he was most popular back in his time. Like what people consider his prime, he's more popular now than he was back then, according to him, And he want to thank shows like mine and the internet for amplifying his message. Because Bobby Dick Gregory was a master teacher and a master strategist. Because he didn't turn out really interviews. He did what he could, whether they were good or bad interviews, whether you could hear him or not on the interviews. He did the interviews because he knew that the message was bigger than the messenger. And he was a soldier. He saw himself as a soldier fighting a universal war. And he said that, Ron, you can't, get with the instructions, get the hell out the army. And that's one thing. That's why I said I didn't mind. I found that cursing out and how he treated me, it was like he was drilling me for the war. He knew that his time was limited and he was getting certain people ready. Everybody was gonna make it, and everybody could not be used as a conduit for the universal God. So I was lucky, but the thing about it is he amplified his message through our platforms and through the internet, through technology. So he trained generations. He had trained a generation of thought provocateurs, of people that's going to do the work, the creatively maladjusted army, as I call y'all. So it's people like you listening to the sound of my voice, people that have been listening to We All Be for years and just following Bobby Dick Gregory, reading his works and stuff. Y'all have been trained. Y'all have been recruited. It's up to you. And anything is possible in this moment, because like Einstein, to paraphrase Einstein, imagination is more powerful than knowledge. And when you combine imagination and knowledge, you can manifest alternate realities and shift paradigms along with the willpower. So it was an interesting ride. So he interviewed me and a couple of people, but I don't think we're going to make the cut. But if I see any of my stuff in that Showtime documentary, I'm going to give me a cut. All the cursings and stuff and verbal lashings I had to endure. So, but anyway, congratulations to Andre Gaines. I remember when he was writing to me and it was just a thought, or he was just working on a Kickstarter, and they got financed real quick, so that's good. And he seems like he's a good brother, and so maybe we could interview him after we interview Dr. Christian Gregory, maybe sometime after the movie is out, so y'all can see. So Dick Gregory lives, man. Brilliant. Unapologetic, in the words of Duke Ellington, beyond category. Bobby Dick Gregory. Peace and blacktastic love back. We love you madly, Brother Timothy. Thank you for tuning in. Donna is interesting. Yeah, she got her own way of doing things. She's very intuitive, I think. Very patient. And I think she got a future. Yeah, he is here. He's omnipresent. He's freer now because he's not, trapped in the body. That's how he moved in life. He was very free. He was a moving free. I mean, he's all there about movement with Dick Gregory. We do the best we can, man. We do the best we can with what we have. But we all are gold mines of a sort. And I think right now is the time for us to value telling our stories as well. It's good to pick their minds, but you got a story to tell. You got books in you and movies and stuff in you that needs to be shared with the world. You got a powerful testimony waiting to be shared. So I want people to be encouraged to amplify their stories as well. There's no question about that. He was frustrated. You got to think about the losses because they didn't win. I know people think, they Marge and Selma and Blood, they lost, and they lost a lot. He lost friends. Families lost fathers and mothers and daughters and sons and nieces and nephews and aunts and uncles and grandparents and everything. There were a lot of people, a lot blood was spilled. And now's the time, Malcolm says it's time for martyrs now. Now's the time, not only just for martyrs, but for people to fight and fight for the protection and right to exist, to preserve life. Bob Dick Gregory put a lot on line. He was arrested many times, not just John Lewis. John Lewis took a lot of ass whoopings. Dick Gregory took a lot of ass whoopings, got arrested. Got, J. Edgar Hoover tried to kill him before he tried to kill Fred Hampton Sr. Think about that. J. Edgar Hoover tried to get the Chicago mob to kill Dick Gregory. Mayor Daley despised Dick Gregory because he ran for mayor. Dick Gregory ran for mayor of Chicago as well as president of the United States. Dick Gregory was a unique person. Listen to young Dick Gregory. Listen to Dick Gregory right before they killed Medgar Evers. There's audio of Dick Gregory being interviewed, I believe, in California. He just came back from Mississippi, working with Mega Evers, and I think he was performing at a comedy club in San Francisco. Listen to him and understand why at 30-some years old, why he was frustrated in his 80s with the progress or lack of progress of our people. Lost a lot of friends, like Malcolm, Dr. King, Mega, they all died before they were 40. And they had families that were dependent on them. Stuff he went through. So, but we got to study our history. See, we don't even know our story, let alone Dick's backstory. And if you listen to that podcast, I touched on some of that stuff with Sister Donna. So I want to thank her once again for the work she has done and that she's getting started on. And there's a lot of y'all getting started on y'all works. And just keep on producing and pushing. Like I've been doing this for a long time. A lot of y'all don't understand. I'm 41 years old, relatively young, but I've been doing this for a long time. The work I'm doing, and so like it could pound on you, it could drain you, it could tax you, because a lot of times our people, it's hard to serve Black people if you don't love Black people. You gotta have a love for our people to serve, because you ain't gonna get all that love back. Because like you look at what is hot now, what's sensationalized. Because we went from Dr. Umar versus Kevin Samuels. Now we focus on Kwame Brown versus Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson and all this stuff. Really, is that progressive? Why are we not dealing in solutions? I mean, nothing comes from beating each other up. That's that battle royale mindset. Like with Jack Johnson, I'm the last nigga standing, and I'm gonna be the only nigga with the belt. You niggas can't hold the belt. I'm gonna hold the belt. I'm the king of the nigga hill. We got that mentality. And said, until the Black man wakes up and realize he's the man, we won't have any chance. Because you talking about Black women. Black women needs the Black man. Black man needs the Black woman, but the Black man needs to be a man. I mean, after all the tough talking and posing, what do we really have as a people to show for our blood, sweat, tears, and years? That's something that need to be talked about. Because Malcolm wasted a lot of time, talking a lot of stuff about Elijah. I mean, y'all act like these folks weren't human, a lot of y'all can't see why Kwame, but then y'all got y'all picks. I mean, I respect Tariq Nasheed, but Tariq, I mean, what's the code? I mean, he talks about people, he called people names and crispy and stuff like that. Y'all have a problem with Kwame dealing with the colorism aspects of his critiques. And, for 20 years, he took people talking bad about him. But one thing about Kwame, he shouldn't feel bad because he will always be a trivia question in sports. So who was the first #1 draft pick out of high school for the NBA draft? The answer will always be Kwame Brown. So evidently enough people believed in his abilities, his potential for him to be drafted #1. And there's a lot of other, I think about Jeff George. Y'all look up who Jeff George is. I mean, there's a lot of bust. I mean, so-called bust lives and all that crap. But I mean, sports is not really important at the end of the day. But I believe it was respect. I think, like I said, he was close to Marvin Gaye. And I found out Marvin Gaye was my blood cousin. Dick was real close to Marvin. And he did his eulogy. And so I think that we all have a certain type of spirits. And Dick was a Libra. And I'm a Taurus. I could deal with Libras. I like Libras. I could deal with them. So, I mean, he was a good man. He was very generous. But he just went through a lot. If you talk to his family, it's kind of weird. It's like, people are concerned about how he died, but y'all didn't. What was y'all at when he was living? Like, how he died. Did y'all know what was going on with him when he was living? A lot of people don't know. Like I said, I don't, the conspiracy theories about how he died. If I thought there was something to that for me, I can't speak for everybody else. Everybody else got their own take on it. I'm at peace with the whole thing because he shared with me some of his health challenges. And like I said, like, think about it. You 80-something years old, you rushing to the venue. You can't even relax. Dick didn't have time to just I'm gonna just be in my hotel, kind of get situated, take a nap, just relax, detox, refocus, recalibrate. He never had that. He was always rushing everywhere. That's not good for anybody. You think about he flying crisscrossing the country at 80 something years old. It's hard for a person half his age to have the stamina of a Baba Dick Gregory. I think one of the reasons why he was able to really last as long in terms of things he did to his body, because he did have a health practice he helped, create. And it did work for him. But the thing about it is you can't confuse starving with fasting. Dick he was committing a slow form of revolutionary suicide. So people say, oh man, if they did him in. Well, if they did him in, we'll produce the receipts. It's been 4 years. You can't, do an anniversary thing every year and talking about they did this to him and you don't produce no receipts, man. You got to sell your point of view. My thing is I trust my instincts and intuition. I don't believe nothing, went down that was foul. Based on the things I know. I also know nobody dies a natural death at all anyway. It's amazing Dick lasts as long. You think about how, he was abusing his body before he became focused and what y'all call woke. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I got a different take on things. Like my thing is I'm not interested in saving people. It is more about this time. I'm just interested in sharing my passions with people. And if it inspires you to be your better version, so be it. But right now I'm just sharing information, sharing my thoughts and viewpoints. And a lot of y'all look at this as infotainment or whatever y'all want to look at it. Is it life-changing? I don't know. It's just me sharing a part of me with the world, using this platform to amplify my worldview. That's about it. But I'm not interested. I'm trying to save people. I used to want to save people. And with the ancestors and people told me, you got to save yourself, brother. Because if you're not here, you can't help the people like that. And if you decide to do your grand exit, make sure that you exhausted all your resources before you go. Don't leave too early, brother. Stay here. Do what it takes to stay here long enough to do your part, and then you can leave. That's how I feel about it right now. Well, she's in. I mean, how you think Dick Gregory's story is going to be told? I mean, if he don't have the insiders helping him. I mean, Lena Waithe, I had great hopes for Lena when I saw what she did, that Master of None episode, whatever. I think Lena Waithe is brilliant, but I think she been compromised because she's in that system. But I look at things like them. I actually like them. A lot of y'all didn't like. Y'all saw as Black Lives trauma porn. I had no problem with it because stuff like that did happen. It happened. And we need to talk about it. I like this shit didn't happen. It's still happening. That's why we can't get nowhere, because we don't want to address the gorilla with the elephant in the room. Okay. So my thing, I was disappointed in Queen and Slim, because really she could have used that energy to tell the true story of Robert F. Williams and his queen, how they beat the system. They did make it to Cuba and became heroes and shurus, and they died in old age. They made it. Why not tell the story that was actually real instead of this BS Black Lives Matter side out where you want to kill black people hope? Tell people about Robert F. Williams. Robert F. Williams did an interview before he died. He talked about how he wanted Monroe, North Carolina to be like Mount Vernon. What Mount Vernon is to white people in the American Revolution, he wanted his hometown to be that for black people. He said, they gonna talk about me because I survived. When we got in the shootouts and fought, we didn't lose nobody. But we gained people respect because we fought back. And he was friends with Malcolm and Martin. They couldn't make it to 40. He made the 70s, Robert F. Williams, with some victories. But we don't want to talk about my cousin Julian Mayfield was a part of that movement, of that struggle. Malcolm used to stay with my cousin in Ghana, him and his wife. They used to, host Malcolm. And I'm just learning about this family history. It's amazing. It's very empowering because I'm following some type of weird ancestral blueprint. So it's not, okay, I'm not that weird. I'm weird, but I'm not. I mean, it's a narrative to my weirdness. It's just my ancestors using me to continue to work, so I've been on here for a while. I don't do a lot of podcasting like I should, but thank you, brother John Williams, always holding me down. We love you madly. But yeah, there's so much to explore. But I said people that are critical of Kwame Brown, talking about he's overly emotional. Malcolm could be called overly emotional at the end. How he went after Elijah Muhammad. Elijah Muhammad, you could probably see him as the better man in a lot of ways because he didn't attack Malcolm. Elijah Muhammad said, don't do nothing to the brother. Leave Brother Malcolm alone. Y'all just jealous because Brother Malcolm got charisma. Brother Malcolm could be my successor. You leave Brother Malcolm alone. You can't sometimes control what other people do in your name. You understand what I'm saying? It's like Lakeith Stanfield should not be blamed for grown folks saying what they really feel about how they feel about certain people on Clubhouse, on Snitch House. Even though that brother was the moderator, you can't control the words that coming out of the other people's mouth sometimes. Maybe you should have excommunicated the brothers in the Clubhouse. So, I mean, it's this weird, we get caught up in this weird fetishizing of so-called Black Messiahism and bullshit like that. You don't need no Black Messiah. You be your own leader. You be your own savior. You be your own creator and manifester. You be your own dreamer and director and author and playwright. It's on you to tell your story, to make it count. So let's talk about Paul Mooney. I want to play this interview I did with Paul Mooney's cousin, Rudy. Like, I didn't depend on TMZ. I didn't depend on Roland Martin. I didn't depend on disrespect to Roland. I didn't depend on the Daily News. I called Rudy Ealing. That's Paul Mooney's cousin. They're one of his helpers, assistants. What happened, man? He passed 2+ hours ago, heart attack. I didn't ask him if he got the jabbing thing going on. We be jabbing. I mean, I ain't asking about that. I don't need, that's not my lane. But when I got the word from one of the people close to him, family, they let me know. And then what was strange is that he said, man, I'm looking at this award that you gave Paul. I'm looking at it right now. You just called me and I'm looking at it right now. Because all y'all thought that it was his cousin on the phone playing as Paul Mooney. Now, that was Paul Mooney. His cousin be in the background sometimes, chiming in. But it's like when I talk to Malcolm's nephew, sometimes I forget I'm talking to his nephew. I'm thinking I'm talking to Malcolm. Some family ties, some blood ties, whatever you want to call it, they're very strong. So I want to play the time when Rudy defended his cousin against the so-called allegations that they say he allegedly had some improper some sexual relations with Richard Pryor's son. I have not seen anything with Richard Pryor's son confirm it or not. He was interviewed, I believe, by TMZ on the street when he was walking around New York, and I don't know what's going on with that. It's kind of weird, but I reached out to Rudy when them allegations came out by Richard Pryor's bodyguard a couple of years ago. And I'm like this, innocent to proven guilty. There's a reason why they want to take Paul Mooney down. They've been trying to take Paul down for years. Paul Mooney never became a household name because he chose the truth over the bag. Paul Mooney chose the truth over the bag. Richard Pryor talked about Paul Mooney's sexuality as fruity as his Alizé. Doing the roast of Richard Pryor, you could Google that up. I think it's on YouTube, the roast of Richard Pryor, where he called out Paul Mooney and his sexuality as fruity as his Alizé. I don't know. I don't really care. It's not my concern because Paul Mooney is like James Baldwin. If you want to look at it like that, he got kids, the Mooney twins, and he got a daughter, I believe. I don't know. I mean, it's complicated when you start dealing with people's sexuality. But to me, it's not important because his work was about liberating Black folks and calling out white folks. He's about liberating Black folks and calling out white folks. So I want to play what Rudy shared with us in defense of his cousin. And thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all rocking with me. Yeah, he always was talk about that. Dick Gregory was a mastermind. He was a visionary. He understood that he wanted to be more dangerous dead than alive. And he is dangerous because, this Showtime documentary, like Malcolm said, because y'all, a lot of y'all said, well, lean away. Malcolm said, by any means necessary. He also said, you got to control that media. And I promise you, whatever comes out, I don't care if I'm featured or whatever. It's not the point. They're going to have Harry Belafonte in there, Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle, Kevin Hart, Lena Waithe. I'm glad that they stepped it up. Maybe in Baba Dick Gregory was interviewed by Andre Gaines. He got a lot of footage of Baba Dick Gregory being interviewed. But thank God for whatever comes out of that, and it's going to reach somebody. Like, paraphrase Tupac, I may not change the world, but I may spark the mind that will. I'm paraphrasing. I'm not straight quoting Pac. And Pac will be 50 if he had lived on June 16th, 1971. And I love Tupac, man. He's my favorite. And people, well, he's flawed, so he's human, but he's the rose that grew out of concrete. And thank God for his legacy. It's like, it's not a tragedy. It'll be tragic if he never wrote a poem, if he never recorded a song. I mean, you look at the anthems, Dear Mama, come on, keep your head up. There's so many of them. Thank God that he lived, to give us that legacy. So always an honor, man. I'm glad I'll be of service. Sometimes I don't know if I helped anybody, let alone myself, but I appreciate that so much. I'm glad I contribute to getting you through some hard times in this crazy. Remember Baby Huey? My cousin and Curtis Mayfield discovered him. Thank God for discovering Baby Huey, because Baby Huey died young. They found him dead in the hotel. He was overweight, whatever, but he was brilliant. A lot of hip hop people they sample Baby Huey song like Hard Time. But he was signed to my cousin's record label back in the day, Curtis Mayfield. And Curtis Mayfield was a unique talent. So was Marvin Gaye. So was Sister Rosetta Tharpe. So was my other cousin, Big Miller. These are my cousins. It's weird to say that. But just going through the trees and talking to the elders and stuff, they confirm it. So, I mean, but we all got that story, though. But I'm going to tell my story my way. Doing my way. We all got something to say. Everything with love, but I'm saying our people too soft right now. A lot of black males, I remember when I was supervisor at a job. A lot of these older Negroes was in their feelings because I was younger than them and I was telling them what to do. It's not because I was talking crazy to them. The fact that I was in position over them, and they just felt disrespected because I'm a black man who's younger than them, telling them what to do. So we got a lot of arrest developing in our community. But it's not just Dick Gregory. There's several people that I can name, Jegnas, that helped me get to this point where I'm at now. You know what I'm saying? Several of them guys just go hard at me, man. So it's not just Baba Dick Gregory, but you got to train somebody. I'll be like I said, I'll be trying to introduce people to Dick Gregory. They were afraid. They said, man, he's gonna curse me out. I said, damn, what type of? It's like with Kwame Brown. I know Kwame Brown ain't really throwing Michael Jordan under the bus. And we saw the Last Dance docu-series from Michael Jordan, and he basically said, yeah, I'm a bully. Yeah, I'm a bully. I'm gonna talk shit. I'm gonna do this. I'm getting in your face because I want to win. And Jordan is from Carolina. There's something about Carolina people. It's like you certain people, like you got the Gullah Geechee people, then you got Mississippi folks. A lot of the gangsters came out the Carolinas. You think about Bumpy Johnson. Y'all love that Harlem Godfather stuff. He's from Charleston. He's from South Carolina. You think about Frank Matthews and Frank Lucas. They from North Carolina. It's something about them Carolinas. You got some gangster folks. You got some scary Negroes there too, but be some gangster folks. You think about even the Gullah Geechee stuff. The probably greatest bass guitar player of all time, James Jamerson, is from Gullah Geechee land. He's from the Carolinas. He's from South Carolina. This is the guy who laid them funky bass lines, immortal bass lines up in Motown. He's probably the greatest bass guitar player of all time. That's James Jamerson. Look up the documentary In the Shadow of Motown, like about the Funk Brothers. These guys were like, brilliant jazz musicians who were R&B masters. It was one guy from Memphis named Ronald Allen. He called himself Ronald Pistol Allen. Not Ronald Allen. Damn. His last name was Allen. I call him Richard Allen. His name was Richard Pistol Allen. Allen. A.L.L.E.N. Richard. His nickname was Pistol. He was a drummer from Memphis. He went to Manassas High School. The Manassas High School where Jimmy Lunsford started out at. And he played on a lot of hits for Motown. I think he passed away back in 2002. But his name was I called him Tony Allen one time. Thinking about Tony, the great defensive player, NBA basketball player Tony Allen, who played with the Celtics, I believe. I also played with the Memphis Grizzlies. He was known for his defensive brilliance. And so I got them confused. They may be related, hell. But let me play. Thank you for the We Love You Madly, Supreme L Bay. Thank you, Terrell Freeman, brother, for the donation. We continue the great work. We all be. Message received. We love you, madly. Thank y'all for turning in. Oh man, no doubt. No doubt, but he's like Dick Gregory. He's using the technology to amplify the message for generations not yet born. I was blessed with the opportunity back in 2004 during the anniversary year of Brown v. Board. They had a special event at LeMoyne College, as a historical Black college and university in Memphis. Where Marion Barry went to, the great Marion Barry, mayor of DC, first chairman of Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. He's from South Memphis by way of Ida Bena, Mississippi, Ida Bena. But Dr. Clyde Anderson was the keynote. And then they had Angela Davis's lawyer, some other luminaries from the struggle. And it was organized by Judge G. Army Bailey, the Honorable Judge G. Army Bailey, my friend, the judge, co-founder of the National Civil Rights Museum, also part-time celebrity. He was an actor. He was the preacher in How Stella Got a Groove Back. Also was the judge in The People versus Larry Flint. When Woody Harrelson, who was playing Larry Flint, was throwing those oranges or grapefruits, he was throwing in that not Judge Joe Brown, but Judge the Army Bailey. I'm the Army Bailey. The Army Bailey was a great man. He died of cancer back in 2015 on July 12th. And his eulogy was done by Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton did his eulogy. I love Jackson cookies. Oh, Lord, Mr. Clinton loved Jackson cookies like us. Yeah, I like the lemon cookies. Oh, them lemon cookies were heaven. Yeah, pennies from heaven. But they were cookies. Taste like women. So anyway, Dr. Clyde Anderson was invited to be the keynote. And one of the major sponsors of the event pulled out. One of the major corporate sponsors, when they found out that Dr. Clyde Anderson was going to be the keynote speaker, they pulled out their funding. But Dr. Clyde Anderson, like the G he is, came down anyway. And he did a great job of telling us about, powernomics and all that stuff he does. So I ain't gonna never forget. I wish I had introduced myself to him at that time, but I was not doing this type of work at that time. So that was back in 2004, and he came down. And then white power structure scared of Dr. Clyde Anderson. And a prophet is always without honor. That's how it be. Yeah, but Jeff George probably one of the greatest, number one draft busts in history, right? I mean, he had an arm like nobody, but he had a cannon for an arm. And into Baba Dick Gregory. No, I was joking. Like Dr. King said, human salvation lies in the hands of the creatively maladjusted. And I'm part of Team Creatively Maladjusted. I can't get in tune on balance with an insane system that meant on my exploitation, and destruction. Yeah, that's why they got the scales. Like I got some friends, they Libras, they good people. I like Libras. Oh, we with our. I have my thing is the Sagittarius women, man. Sagittarius women, they heartbreakers. I call them runaway loves, like that ludicrous song, "Runaway Love." Sagittarius are interesting to me. I don't know if you're a Sagittarius, Sunshine, but I want to find out. But anyway, yeah, that's how I feel about Sagittarius women. But anyway, that's a long story. It was a Sagittarius woman that really messed me up, and I ended up interviewing Baba D. Gregory, led to that viral Django interview or review, and the rest is history. So I guess I got to thank a Sagittarius woman for helping me get some type of success, even in heartbreak. She helped me out. It did so many of us dirty, sister. I mean, it's a lot of people I could think of right now when you said that, but we got to survive. And he was a survivor. And Little Richard left an amazing legacy behind, because Little Richard really was a guru for rock and roll. I mean, everybody runs through Little Richard. I mean, you can't escape his influence from the Beatles, Bob Dylan. I can name early Buddy Holly. Shit, I can name a lot of early rock and roll stars. Jimi Hendrix played with him. Prince, Michael Jackson. Man was a god. He was a music god. But I did a long thing on Little Richard not too long ago. Thank you, Green Light Show. We love you madly. Yeah, but I still feel like 41 some days. When I wake up, it still feel like 41, but it is young in the greater scheme of things. I got ways to go. Most deaf welcome. Let me play this. I'm about to talk about Paul right now, but are you a Sagittarius? What's your sign, Sunshine? You are Sunshine. You got a beautiful smile, but what's your sign? I gotta know. I'm curious now. You've been all up in here chatting it up. But we talked about Paul. We're gonna talk about Paul right now. I'm gonna close out the show. I'm gonna play this interview that I did with his cousin defending his honor in terms of those allegations. Because Richard Pryor bodyguard said that Richard Pryor had a contract hit out on Paul Mooney for sleeping with his son. But we'll see. I don't know. Oh yeah, Kwame. I respect Kwame. I like Kwame, man. He, like I said, he reminded me of my great grandfather because he's from South. I mean, he looked like my great grandfather, and I like him because I believe he's sincere and that he really wants to help. But also, he figured the game. He's flipping the script on those guys. It's like they trying to say he ain't playing fair now, but y'all say he was a bust. No, he's a player at the game of life. He playing at the game of life at the highest levels in this matrix, in this simulation that we're in right now. He's flipping it because he's making people think. Because I don't, I'm not going to discredit him by saying he's emotional. He got a right. He's a human being. He's not a monster. It's like how they try to make Sonny Liston into this monster. Sonny Liston loved kids, not in a weird way, but he liked kids because they were more innocent than grown-ups. They didn't have agendas like grown-ups do. They didn't conspire against him. Look how they wrecked Sonny Liston's legacy. You don't know the truth about how he died. They probably murdered him because he was afraid of needles. They had like he died of a heroin overdose or something, but he was afraid of needles. He hated needles. He was scared of needles. That big bear. But they try Kwame. I mean, Kwame, he dark skinned. You got to think about it. Colorism is real. People don't want to talk about that. It's like Marcus Garvey had a distrust of light skinned black folk. He wanted to work with Dr. Du Bois and the NACP, but he felt how they treated him was dirty. Rosa Parks talked about how her grandfather wanted to be a part of UNIA, but he was too light skinned. He looked too much white because there's a lot of Scots Irish in Rosa Parks. She could, she was high yellow. And that played a part in why she was picked to be the face of the Montgomery bus boycott. He had another a young lady, but she was not only dark skinned, but also she was pregnant by a married man, Claudette Colvin, and I think she's still around. I talked to her on the phone. I should have been interviewing her. But I did give her a We All Be Lifetime Achievement Award maybe like 5 or 6 years ago. Maybe I will follow up with Claudette Colvin and try to get her on the show. But they didn't want her because first of all, she was sassy, or she had a mouth. How they try to it is a stereotype when it comes to dark-skinned black women. It is. She was loud, sassy, and then she was teenage, pregnant person, mother to be, and her baby daddy was a married man. It's all that, but Rosa Parks was married, seamstress, light-skinned, it is what it is. Thank you. It is. Yeah, Clubhouse is snitch house. I don't like. I sign up for Clubhouse. I see what they do. Now I go in the rooms and people are like, brother, run, say something for the people. I say, okay, I say something for the people, but I don't know. Clubhouse. It's snitch house. Cause like I thought that one of my things of Clubhouse that you don't record the conversations. It's like it's for the whatever happens in Clubhouse, stay in Clubhouse, but that's not the case. Because you can go on YouTube right now, people have uploaded Clubhouse conversations. And this is how I still like Lakeith Stanfield. People, I believe in freedom of speech and of expression. I don't believe in censorship of any type. But I'm learning now that if you can't talk about certain things, if you can't talk about certain people, then you know who your enemies are. They tell you about the things you can or cannot talk about, by the people you can and cannot mention. That's why Malcolm said you got to understand the media game. It's the most powerful force on the planet because it influences and controls the minds of the masses. So let's get into it. I'm going to try to incorporate some of y'all coming. Man, Marion Barry was brilliant. He was a political genius, and he loved people. He was not corrupt. He just loved pussy and he had a love for pussy and drugs too. But I'm saying he was not corrupt. You know, when he died broke. I mean, his thing was trying to empower black folks. He saw politics as a way to fulfill the agenda of the civil rights movement of the 60s. Marion Barry was ahead of his time. God bless the memory of Marion Barry. I had a chance to meet Marion Barry. Thank him. So I took a picture with him. Yep, Ryan Leaf. I mean, why they always throwing black folks under the bus? That's the point you're making. Why we always, willing to sell each other out? There should be a code. Like he was talking about the fraternity of basketball players. Y'all didn't have to. I'm saying people say he should have a thicker skin, but think about it. I haven't really heard from Kwame Brown in all these years like that. He just now started to become vocal since last year. I think he spoke out about the death of Kobe Bryant, who was a teammate of his. I mean, this man dealt with Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan. Can you imagine having no guys as your teammates and riding your ass while you riding the pine? And this is crazy. Hey, sunshine is a cancer. That's why we vibe so long. Taurus is if the sunshine is a cancer. I don't know. I'm looking at Gmar. That makes sense. Oh, they're gonna be jealous whether I have something or not. But I appreciate you tuning in. You know how to contact me. It'll be an honor to have you on the show. I mean, it's like you're a very open-minded sister with a lot of information to share. I'm interested in that FloJo. If we do a FloJo show, I would love to have you on here if you want to be on here to talk about that. Now, I'm a bachelor. I have no prospects that I know of. I have not given up hope, but I feel like if I do what I'm supposed to do, things will fall in place. And like, what give me hope? Like I said, that my great grandfather, who looks like Kwame Brown looks like, he left South Carolina, and he had my grandmother when he was like 66 years old. He died in his 70s, getting ready for church during the Great Depression. But he was born into slavery, but he killed this white man who was disrespecting his mom. Moved to Kansas, had 10, I guess about 10 kids, 10, 11 kids, something like that. And now I'm interested because I got me some new wheels. Thank you all. And I'm going to spend a lot of time traveling this summer. I hope I could go to South Carolina to learn my roots more. And I'll show what I find out with the people. I don't want to stop flirting with you. I want you to, let's continue this. And you can email me, r2c2hu@gmail.com. And I would love to have you on the show. Yeah, y'all some gangsters, man. I'm saying like a lot of our gangsters came out the Carolinas, man. I mean, a lot of my favorite musicians are from the Carolinas. Thelonious Monk is from Rocky Mount. John Coltrane is from Hamlet, North Carolina. Dizzy Gillespie from Sherrard, South Carolina. You had the Jenkins Jazz Orphanage in Charleston, produced some of the greatest jazz musicians of all time, like Cat Anderson, the dude that killed one of my heroes, James Reese Europe, Herbert Wright. He was a part of the Jenkins Jazz Orphanage, the Thunder Twins. He stabbed them in the neck. He bled to death at the age of 39. Was given the first public funeral in New York City history back in May 13th, 1919. That's James Reese Europe. He's buried in Arlington Cemetery. Lead up the Harlem Hellfighters Jazz Band. Yeah, Carolinas, y'all be some gangsters over there, man. And you can tell he got that flavor. He got that flavor, man. Kwame got that flavor. Y'all got me up to come and say, let me play this. Y'all, it's a blessing to have very well educated and y'all some very educated people, man. Very cultured. It's a blessing to have y'all, follow We All Be and be a part of this discussion, because I'm always impressed with the level of intellectual awareness that you all have and cultural appreciation. It really keeps me going. I got them smiling on the inside out, but I really enjoy watching y'all, looking at y'all banter in the chat. And thank you, Heavy Lefty, for staying around, man. I was not trying to attack you, but I saw it as a chance to go further into my critique of Jackie Robinson. And I love Jackie Robinson, but I'm saying they all using us for their own ends. We need to learn how to fight for ourselves and put ourselves first. You saw what they did in Congress recently. You know, you saw how, you know, Mrs. Chuck and Pearl, she no longer black. I don't know what the hell she is this week. She could be Korean or Vietnamese. I don't know. Thank you, Sister Monique. We love you madly. You need to come on the show. That colorism always been a part. I mean, I can look. Y'all like Kwame Brown inventing the division among black people with the colorism. She actually, I don't think she was a color. Because I told you about her grandfather wanted to be a Garveyite, but he was too light skinned. Rosa Parks was a revolution. She was a rider. She respected Robert F. Williams and black folks protecting themselves, self-defense. She did a eulogy at Robert F. Williams' funeral in Monroe, North Carolina, back in October of '96. I don't believe she was a colorist like that. She can't help how she looked. Look, a lot of our activists were light skinned. You think about Malcolm X, you think about Ida B. Wells, the Mary Church Terrells, and the people that are the most outspoken. A lot of times, you know, we could talk about, man. Let me play this Paul Mooney. Y'all got me in this bag. Let me play. The neighbors might complain. I might get some noise complaints. I don't know, man. People were weird. If I was playing music and having sex real loud, people wouldn't complain. Making a horny noise, me so horny, you know, they wouldn't complain. They complain about me dropping knowledge. Man, that knowledge is making my head hurt. He's loud with the knowledge. Let me play this Paul Mooney, Rudy. And we would probably get Rudy on soon. Some of this stuff died down. Talk about his cousin legacy.
This is Brother Ron, and welcome to
I want to stop right quick.
News, Radio, and TV.
I want to make sure I don't give no false stars. I want to make sure I do this right. I mean, I did a show a couple of shows ago. Y'all couldn't hear the sound at first. I want to make sure I got the sound right. We'll take it from the top. I love Miles Davis. I was playing Miles Davis for my mom today. Yesterday now. You know, riding around. She said, what is this weird music? It's like some space music. I said, this is Miles Davis. Like the stuff he was doing in the 70s with the fusion. Like Miles is so brilliant because, you know, Miles Davis' birthday coming up. It's May 26th. And he was so on it, man. He was so on it that he was ahead of it. He was on it though. And like him and his sound engineer guy, the great Tio Macero. I think that's how you say it's Tio. He's Italian American, I think. They would take, you know, just jam sessions and splice them up, you know, this like, you know, stuff that Kanye West. I could see Kanye West working with Miles Davis with no problem. It would be beautiful to see Kanye West work with Miles Davis. If they was, I mean, Miles Davis would just take all these little jam sessions and souls and make these amazing songs. Y'all gotta check out Miles Davis' Jack Johnson tribute album. He did the soundtrack for the Academy Award nominated Jack Johnson documentary. But check out Miles Davis' Jack Johnson. That stuff is heavy, man. Miles Davis was in a class by himself. Yeah, I love Miles Davis because it was not about the trumpet. It was bigger. It was about sound. Man was a sound master, man. The trumpet was just like an entry into him getting to where he needed to go. Because people say, he couldn't play trumpet. Yeah, it's a lot of haters. He didn't have to help to hit the highest notes or get the middle register solid. It was about having stuff to say and saying it. It's like the stuff that Jimi Hendrix was doing. You can't teach that because he was left-handed. He played I played my trumpet. I don't play by the rules. Dizzy Gillespie blew his cheeks out. You're supposed to do that. But it's not about fitting in with them. It's about finding out what's in you and then amplifying that to the rest of the world. Let me play the cousin. And let me get hydrated. Okay. And I'm keeping y'all for 3 hours. Jesus. I be saying I don't want to do no shows. Now I do a show and I can't get out the damn show, the podcast. Okay, share audio. Let me know if y'all can or cannot hear, please. Thank you.
This is Brother Ron, and welcome to We All Be News Radio and TV, the news-free Dixie for the 21st century.
Hello? Yeah, I was following with you, Brother Rudy. Just about the situation with your cousin Paul. Now you sent me the information from TMZ about the accusations. I saw and read some other information. So what is the deal right now? What's going on?
Well, so far, it's not true.
Okay. Now I saw the TMZ thing, like they had confronted or they talked to Richard Jr. on the New York streets, and he didn't say Paul by name. It sounded like he alluded something happened, but he didn't verify or confirm that it was Paul Mooney.
That's true.
So what is the situation with this former bodyguard of Richard then, this Rashawn Khan guy? What's his character? Who is he?
Well, he used that Flip Wilson cousin, and he used to do work for Flip, and then he wound up working for Richard.
Okay.
He wound up working for Richard. So
was he doing bodyguard work for Flip too, or he was doing it for Richard?
Yeah, he was doing bodyguard work for Flip too. Yeah.
Okay, and you had your encounters with this guy, right? This Khan guy.
Yeah.
What type of person is he?
Well, I don't know anything about it. Apparently, he don't have nothing else to do but, just to go around, just to go around telling shit. Dude, you ask me, I don't know what's his problem, but he got a problem.
Okay. So I saw the comedy hype interview he did. It's not like he's got a book coming out. He has a book out about his life.
Yeah, he got a book coming out. They tell all.
Okay. And so, like, within 5 minutes, this thing went viral, right? He had a 5-minute, it was an edit from Comedy Hype of a 5-minute that he talked about Paul Mooney allegedly, I guess, raping. That's his accusation, Richard Jr. And then Richard Pryor allegedly put out a $1 million hit on Paul Mooney. So what do you think about that story, about the hit?
Well, to me, if Richard did something like that, that would make him just as stupid as he is. Okay? Mm-hmm. Because first of all, if you put $1 million hit on somebody, you got to find somebody to do it. And let's say they find somebody to do it. How do you know that person won't go to the police department? He can go to the police department and say, look, Richard Pryor want me to kill Paul Mooney. Mm-hmm. And that can mess up Richard Pryor's career. He can go to jail. So why would somebody do something that stupid?
I'm trying to figure out the timeline because the Khan guy said that Richard was going to do the hit, but he set himself on fire
in 1980.
Right. So the timeline, yeah. So like, is he like around this time? Was he alluding that the event happened earlier and Richard found out about it, or it happened around that time? I'm trying to figure out the timeline.
It happened in the 70s.
Okay.
Okay. Because Richard caught on fire in 80. Mm-hmm. So it had to been happening in the 70s.
But then when did JoJo Dancer come out, the movie?
1986.
So was Paul involved in JoJo Dancer?
Yes, he was.
So I'm trying to figure out, so if Richard knew about this, if his response was, I want to get a hit out on Paul, why would him and Paul still be friends? I mean, they got a picture of him from 1999 with Richard while he was in a wheelchair. So I'm trying to understand, like...
And Richard died in 2005.
Right. So, like, why would he still want to associate with a man who allegedly violated his son?
You have to ask Rashawn that bullshit.
And then what?
Rashawn is doing a book.
Okay. So I'm trying to understand that it just actually happened. Like, how old would Richard Jr. would have been? Would he been underage?
If it would have happened in 79 age, Richard Jr. would have to have been 18 or 19 years old. So Richard Jr. is born, Richard is 58 years old, so he would have to have been born in 1961 or something like that.
Okay. So he would have been past the legal age.
Well,
if it happened.
79 or 80, if you're born in 61, 71 would make you 10, right?
Mm-hmm.
79 would make you 19.
So it would have been no molestation. I mean, it would have been like a alleged rape then if it wasn't consensual?
Well, if he's, the law say you consider you a teenager at 15.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? You can be tried as an adult at 16, 17, or 18.
Right.
Okay? So if this happened in 1979, that would make him 19 years old.
Mm-hmm.
If it happened in 1978, it would make him 18 years old. If it happened in 1977, it would make him 17 years old. Okay? So how old was he actually? But if you take if you put it together, the numbers together, when it's supposed to happen, what Rashawn say, that would make him 19 to 20 years old.
So he would have been of age, but my thing is, like, would he been raped? Though that's the question. Like, they say that he was a consenting age. I'll ask the question of consent if it was actual rape. You know that Richard Pryor's widow, Jennifer, the one he married twice, the white lady he married twice, she claimed that she got on footage from his funeral luncheon, Richard Jr. confessing to the people that he was raped by Paul Mooney.
Okay, then. Did you look at the video MTG did today?
Yes. You talking about TMZ? Yeah.
Did you read TMZ? Did you read the last part? They said to Jennifer about a tape?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
What did it say at the end of the day that TMZ wrote?
Let me see.
Jennifer alleged, but they haven't seen it.
Right. She alleged to it. Like, she talked about it on her Twitter line, besides bashing Trump about this incident. Yeah, it's the proof. It got to show the proof that this actually went down. But why now? Why do you think that people are coming out with this now? This accusation?
Well, he's writing a book.
Okay.
I mean, that's common sense to tell anybody that.
So, what, do Paul or y'all plan to sue the guy for slander or anything?
How could you sue somebody and ain't got a pot to piss in and willing to throw it out of?
Okay, that's a good point. So how is Paul dealing with this stuff? I know because we got the social media phenomenon now. We got to deal with that type of stuff, like we talked about earlier about people.
He's dealing with it. He's dealing with it like he says a lot.
But my thing is, like, why are you going to tarnish a person's legacy over innuendo or unproven accusations?
Well, money is the root of all evil.
Mm.
If he's trying to do a book, he's trying to get a book deal. What other two names that he can put together? Richard Pryor and Paul Mooney.
Yeah, but also I think it's interesting because people have made accusations over the years about Paul's sexuality. Like, is he gay or bisexual? So, like, I know that I saw the roast from the 70s that Richard did. And, he put Paul out there. I mean, he said some things about Paul doing fellatio and stuff like that. But they were laughing it off. So has Paul ever said he was a gay man or saw himself as gender fluid or bisexual?
Never asked him.
But he never volunteered, right? And y'all first cousins.
Never asked him.
Okay.
And to me, as far as I'm concerned, if he was, come out in the closet because people love gay people.
Yeah,
let's get gay and see what happens.
Yeah. Because Richard himself, basically Richard was bisexual, correct? I mean, he talked about his encounters with men and women, and people like Quincy Jones put stuff out there as well.
Richard Pryor said when he did something in the Hollywood Bowl, he turned around and told all the gay people to kiss his black ass.
Mm.
No, I take that back. To kiss my rich black ass.
Yeah, I remember that reading about that was about like how they didn't really support black folks and civil rights and stuff like that. Was that the issue? How they weren't supportive of black people, but they want us to support them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, he was ahead of his time, but I mean, he did talk about his encounter. I know, like, what do you think about Quincy Jones saying the stuff he said about Richard and Marlon Brando?
Right.
Last year. So
Jennifer said it was true.
Yeah, so I mean, like, what type of person is Jennifer, man? I know have you ever met Jennifer Pryor?
No, never met the white woman in my life.
I just want to get somebody to take who know her, because she's like, I don't know what to make of her, man. I don't know her. It's like she's like an opportunist, you know, the way she jump on stuff. Huh?
She wife number 4 and wife number 7.
There you go. He was still at the end. So, like, have you talked? When the last time you spoke with Richard Jr. Then have you talked to him?
No, I have not ever talked to Richard Jr.
About Rain Pryor, any of the Pryor children?
I never talked to Rain Pryor. Only one that I talked to is Marlon. I mean, not Marlon, Mason.
Mason, okay. So I just wonder what their take on this stuff is. I gotta go on Twitter, try to find out. But I just think this is a distraction. It's unfortunate that like they try to make sure that people remember Paul just for being alleged molester or whatever they want to call it, not his brilliant comic career. The people he helped, like Richard Pryor and Dave Chappelle, to become really comic greats. So what's the next step moving forward? Like, what's your take on this moving forward?
When you say what now?
What's your take on moving forward? How would y'all move forward from this? Like, what's the next take and the next step?
Well, only thing you can do is just wait when something come out and deal with it.
Okay. But do we have any shows coming up, Paul? Do you have anything on the horizon?
No, Paul is in retirement. Only thing Paul do is he does Paul Mooney Present. He don't perform no more.
Okay. But was
he bring up all the upcoming comedians, the new ones, that he think is good enough.
I mean, has he heard any from any comedians and anybody saying something in defense of Paul? Have you heard anything about that? Anybody he worked with?
Well, some of them say they don't believe it. So the same way with when they came up on Bill shit. Hollywood is Hollywood.
Yeah, that was I said. Like, why are you trying to demonize the individual when it's the institution and it's the culture of the beast? So, like, I think about Hugh Hefner with Playboy, even Harvey Weinstein, the stuff he allegedly did was always part of the culture.
Mm-hmm.
You saw why are you gonna demonize people? You don't want to try to figure out, like, is there any way around this so-called casting couch phenomenon or mentality? But my thing, like I said, once again, like Richard joked about Paul back in the 70s about the fellatio. You remember that roast that Richard Pryor did on TV?
Yeah.
And he got on YouTube. People look at that. They talking about, you're talking about Paul doing the fellatio and stuff, and Paul laughing and stuff like that. But I don't know what's fact or fiction with Richard, though. He just let everything out. But what I'm saying is that still don't make him, even if he was a homosexual or gay, that does not mean he's a child molester or pedophile.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, he has a right to a due process. So I just hope and pray that everything turns out for the best for Brother Paul and for the family. So he obviously he's active on Twitter, right?
Yeah.
So what is his Twitter handle?
It's Paul Mooney Twitter account, and that's all you do. You can see it'll be something on there.
Paul Ely Mooney. Okay, all right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So you have any closing thoughts or words you'd like to share with the people, Brother Rudy? Thank you for talking with me as well too. I appreciate it.
Okay, then. No problem. Okay.
You have anything else you'd like to share?
Huh?
You have anything else you'd like to share or add before we go?
Oh no, I mean, look what they're doing. They just go after big famous peoples, I guess. But Rashawn need to, if he's gonna do it. And another thing, how could Rashawn sit back something that happened 30 or 40 years ago, and he can remember that he asked Richard on a Wednesday? Huh?
Yeah, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, if you look at it, he said he asked Richard on a Wednesday. How could you remember? And somebody asked somebody 33 years ago, it was a Wednesday that you asked them.
Yeah, I'm just really particular about that timeline too, because if he said it happened during this time, like you said, Joe Dancer came out in the 80s, and this happened in the 70s, then why is Richard still friends with a dude that violated his son? I don't understand.
Well, and if you look at it, he pushing him in the wheelchair, and that's in 99 or 2000.
Yeah, 99, the picture. So I don't know what to believe.
And Richard died in 2005.
Yeah, so why would he want that man around him? Because my understanding, Richard's been a victim of child molestation growing up.
Well,
so why we want people like that around him? Mm-hmm. So thank you, Brother Rudy, man. I appreciate you so much for taking the time to defend your cousin. And I hope, Baba Dick always used to say, Dick Gregory, that, you pray at noon for the truth to come out. And I look forward to the truth coming out.
Yeah.
So this is ridiculous.
Okay. All right, then. Thanks a lot.
All right. Thank you, man. We love you, man. Take care.
Okay.
All right.
And now we're here. Thank y'all for being patient. This is interesting listening to that. It's been a while since I listened to that interview I did with Paul's cousin Rudy. But the games, right? So I also want to play something I think is interesting. I had a chance to talk to Paul Mooney a couple of times. I didn't talk to him as much as I'd like to. Promises were made and things happened, but if now in hindsight, he was dealing with health challenges and stuff like that. I want to play something that he said about Bill Cosby to me. It's short, and I can't do anything about the audio quality at the moment, but I think he gets his point across.
This is Judge Joe. Eye contact, elbow pump. Very nice, Andrew. Very nice. Next. Brown, and we're listening to We All Be News. News-free Dixie for the 21st century.
Let me ask you this as well, concerning the Bill Cosby situation. That's another thing people want me to ask you about. What you about
Bill?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Bill Cosby. I'm one of Bill Cosby's biggest fans. I love Bill Cosby.
Mm-hmm.
He was everybody's favorite dad, so I love him. And he, so the only mistake that Bill Cosby made was that he told on himself. He should have just kept his mouth shut.
That's right.
He told on himself. Because Bill Cosby. See, when Bill Cosby tried to buy NBC or ABC, whatever it was, when he did that, that's when them white folks got crazy.
Yes, sir.
See, he was everybody's favorite dad. And now they just trying to.
So you got that nigga wake up.
So he got his wake up call. That's all. He got his black wake up call.
Yes, sir.
Now they're trying to destroy him. That's how white people do. That's what they do when you get out of line. They don't. It's like it's military. All those are military moves. The arena, the fall of the Roman Empire, the arena.
Mm-hmm.
That's why everything that has an arena to it, it's with the descendants of Rome.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. Everything is an arena. Football, baseball, name it. What is it? An arena. It's an arena.
That's true.
And just because you move something from one place to another doesn't change what it is. It is what it is. If I remove a car, a Ford from Texas to Mississippi, it's still a Ford.
Yes, sir.
Change what it is. They know that. They just want to know if we know.
I guess what goes around comes around. I mean, nobody escapes clean. Like, we'll go back to what Brother Eddie Griffin said. Black men leave with an asterisk, right? Nobody leaves clean in this show business thing. And like one of my Jagnus, the late great Emerson Abel Jr., he said, "Ron, nobody dies from natural death in show business." And it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So thank y'all so much for tuning in and not tuning out. And I guess let me play. I think I can play one more thing. Paul Mooney on Dick Gregory. And I said the sound quality, whatever. That time around, the audio normally would work decent. The audio recorder I use, but For some reason, and when Paul Mooney get on, is questionable. You don't know what it's like. Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. Forrest Gump type of stuff. But go ahead and play this thing about him. What he said about Dick Gregory, and then we'll close it out. And thank y'all for being patient and for rocking We All Be. We love you madly. Know that the best is yet to come. Paul Mooney on meeting Dick Gregory.
This is Judge Joe Brown, and we're listening to We All Be News. News-free Dixie for the 21st century.
I want to ask you this: like, how did you meet Dick Gregory? I can never find out how y'all met. I know y'all in the same, profession, but how did you meet Dick Gregory?
Well, Dick Gregory's the best.
Mm-hmm.
Dick Gregory, he knows stuff. You want to know how you met him?
Yeah, how you met him? Yeah.
Oh, how I met Dick Gregory? Dick Gregory's a relative of mine.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, he's a relative. I knew it. He didn't know, but I knew through his daughter, and they came, and one of my sons. They were having an affair. You know how black people are. I don't know what y'all. And the kids all know. They pretend they don't know, but they all know.
Yeah, I hear you.
Because kids talk, and they talk, even the little ones, because the little ones teach the big ones teach the little ones. They all know. They all know when they're cousins. They all know all that. The adults think they don't know, but they know. They tell.
Yes, sir.
And and they watch you. They watch what you do. They don't watch what you say. They watch what you do.
Yes, sir.
They all, yeah. You see the cousin thing. They say we all. I'm telling black people we all kissing cousins because this slavery thing. They moved us around, and Charleston was a powerful entry point for slaves coming to the so-called North America. A lot of the so-called slaves came through Charleston Harbor. This is true. And he said we're cousins, kissing cousins. We all just kissing cousins. You think about it. But thank y'all so much. Yeah, we talked about that. You could go on YouTube and find that clip probably about Paul knowing Richard Pryor on roast. And Richard Pryor, he wore his truths, man. And you gotta look at Richard Pryor. It's like a DMX thing, man. I don't see these as tragedies as a lot of y'all see them. I see them as triumphs. Can you look at the dysfunctionality that Richard Pryor found himself in? It's touched upon in JoJo Dancer, Your Life is Calling, which is really based on his life story. And Richard Pryor grew up in a house of prostitution. His grandma was a madam. His mom was a prostitute. His daddy was a trick, I guess. But also he was molested, from my understanding, by a neighbor. So, we make this stuff taboo, but these type of traumas happen all the time to black folk. And you look at the movie Goodbye Uncle Tom, the director's cut. I only looked at it one time. That's all I could take, man. It's like you talking about some trauma porn, but it's based on actual facts, based on newspapers and journals and stuff like that. So thank y'all so much. We're doing hopefully we could get Dr. Kristen Gregory on here later on today, because now it is today. So thank y'all for rocking with Brother Ron. Some of y'all been with us for a long time. So I appreciate it. I'm glad we could deliver some value and worth, and that it can help you all. Because even when I'm stumbling, I hope I'm stumbling forward and not backward. You know what I'm saying? So I thank y'all for the encouragement. And yes, the show must go on because the best is yet to come. But let me read a disclaimer. Because they going headhunting on YouTube right now. So I'm saying. Disclaimer: the views expressed by hosts and guests on the We All Be TV platform are not the official views, opinions, beliefs, or perspectives of We All Be News or the We All Be Group Incorporated. We All Be News is an organization that thoroughly believes in supplementing the information narrative that is usually supplied by the corporate news entities with those viewpoints and expressions which may be marginalized or ignored for a plethora of reasons. We are about informing the general public on alternative perspectives as it relates to news and information, and letting the general public be the ultimate judge in deciding on how to use said information. Informed citizens are responsible citizens. Thank you for your support. And I want to thank y'all for tuning in and out with Brother Ron, because to quote Dr. King, the creatively maladjusted will save humanity. I'm paraphrasing. Human salvation lies in the hands of the creatively maladjusted. And thank you, Sister Teresa Walker, for your generous donation. We love you madly. Thank you for receiving my work and dedication. And I'm glad it's been benefit to you and other people who have expressed that the work I do is of benefit and it must continue. It's like I said, the best is yet to come because the show must go on. So thank you all. Y'all can support Cash App, $R2C2H2, Google Pay, PayPal, and Zelle is R2C2H2@gmail.com. Vimo is at R2C2H2. You can buy Artemis art. I believe I got to update my website, R2C2H2.com. Where Artemis art? Look, I'm rocking this shirt, the Three Kings. I met two of the three. You know, I met Baba and I met Paul, and they signed the artwork. I might auction off the artwork somebody soon. They signed it. So I met two of the three of the Kings, man, and it's an honor. And got these stories to tell. That they left their legacies. They're very well respected, and may they be continued to be received for generations to come. Because, like I said, the best is yet to come, and the show will and must go on. So thank you all for your generosity, for your time. You cannot refund time. So thank you for spending time with your brother. Yes, it was. Thank you, Teresa. We love you madly. Yes, indeed. Always a good time with you all. I haven't seen it. Like I said, I got it. And I'm going to check it out this weekend. Okay. Yeah, I saw my. Okay, never mind. I don't know. I'm doing things, hustling backwards. But anyway. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, it's all my artwork. I need to do some more artwork. I've been thinking about, man, I need to create some big pieces right now. It's funny, man. You make time for the things you want to do. People always make excuses. I don't have enough time. You make time. Time's not even real. You make space. Let's say you make like Miles Davis. You make space for the things you want to do. Okay. So with that said, spell check. Okay. Whatever. I mean, it's late. Okay, but we'll check it out. But thank y'all so much. We love y'all. In the words Duke Ellington, we love you madly. Y'all keep on producing and pushing. Sunshine, don't forget about me. Don't you forget about me, Miss Sunshine. Okay, y'all take care. One love.